Hello everyone and welcome to It's Dangerous to Go Alone. I am Lily Gravy Bread and I will be joined by Splatoon as we take you through the first 4 rounds of Power Bracket. I'm very excited to be here with you, Splatoon. How are you feeling today?
I'm really excited. This is gonna be a really fun tournament. It always is.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to refresh everyone, this is a free agent tournament. So all these teams have been placed together. You sign up alone and then you get sorted into teams. And we'll be seeing the two teams, Invincible, Imagination, and Heady Hospitality. And we are looking at their rosters right now. I'm curious about these weapon choices. Actually, what kind of things might you expect to see here, Droid?
I mean, the Arsenal's gonna come in with that be backline the whole time, and like they have a good comp with Invincible Imagination. They do have the right kind of weapons to work with each other, and it seems like Heady Hospitality doesn't have a specific backline, so that could be an advantage for Invincible Imagination.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Now, the thing about like not running a backline is that if you do start losing your players in the middle of a match, it can be difficult to kind of come back in. I find running those anchorless comps, but of course, like having a bull point there is definitely going to be like a really big help. Regardless, and I'm very excited to see actually what they choose to run in these 3 rounds, which we will be taking you through. Yeah, the first match will be tower control on Makoma. Then we'll be going to clan blitz and onto spillway. It's not something I often see, but I find it fun. Like I'm a clan blitz enjoyer myself. Before we move on to Museum Delfonzino Splat Zones. Now, Makoma Tower Control. This is one, Makoma in general, I find is one where you really have to be playing around the ledges, playing around the two stacks and making sure you have a lot of control over them. But Droid, do you have any like opinions or like expectations or things that you'd like, or maybe even like things that you'd like to see here on Tower Control Makoma?
I expect to see like very aggressive comps from at least one of the teams, probably the backline list comp with the Macomart tower control, because that usually works out really well here. And like you can get a push going and get it really fast on this map compared to some others in tower control, because you can push all the way up onto the snipe area.
Yeah, absolutely. And backlineless, we might be expecting a backlineless comp from Heady Hospitality in that sense. Invincible Imagination definitely has like a backline player, and you can actually, I do feel, I'm not like a backline player myself, mind you, but I do feel that there are some pretty strong spots for, pretty strong spots, I believe, a sniper or even like a ballpoint, even like to set up, I gotta say. Looks like we'll be going into the game at the moment, and we are seeing that ballpoint coming out, of course, and actually we are seeing a ballpoint on both sides, I believe, Droid.
Yeah, that was actually surprising. So it seems like they're running a lot of run speed on that ballpoint with Heady Hospitality, and that is a very interesting choice. They do seem to get that's a big trade with the ballpoint and Slosher, and it's instantly just like pick after pick on each other. Lily.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw them go 3 down at that moment. This is going to be the time that they really need to be able to pressure this flat here to be able to make sure they can secure that checkpoint. Arsenal really trying to pressure the tower as it starts to move ahead a little bit more, but 4 players are up, only 1 player has gone down, 2 players down on the other side actually, so we are going to potentially be seeing this tower move back to neutral at the moment, right?
Yeah, they're just trying to get little picks, and they do pick off the blaster with that hammer, and they can make a push off of this. The inkjet moving in with the booyah bomb. They do have a lot of pressure and a lot of paint over the map, and this Slosher is probably going to be overcome. Lily.
Yeah. We got those slushes kind of at each other's necks at the moment there, but it does look like the Tri-Slush does go down. Two specials are online at the moment, so we might be able to see some kind of work happening at this point. If they manage to keep this up, we are definitely seeing the Tri-Struck come out. Arsenal gets a great pick actually to prevent any push from being made, but it does look like they are going to try and desperately find an opening. They really have to win a fight here, I believe, Freud, in order to get this tower moving again.
Yeah, they had an opportunity with the 3 down, but they didn't have map control, so it makes sense why they didn't go. And that's a wipeout, and that's a big chance to get back the lead. They'll probably get that here. They want to hold that plat really well. The hammer pop coming up. Lily.
Yeah, there is the hammer pop, and it looks like they'll probably be trying to help this push go even further with that inkjet as well, with the tactical coming out. Hopefully they can continue taking up this space in order to really able to push this over to the second checkpoint, which they have absolutely secured. We're seeing this Tri-Slush going on an incredible rampage here before finally being picked off. That was a really good play, a really fantastic flank, I believe, to be able to really clear out that area, but it does look like the tower is being taken back at this moment, right?
Yeah, they have to get the paint here, and that after that try got that pick, they almost got a triple in there, and that could have been really bad for them. The Blaster is pushing up really hard, trying to get them to back off and get control of the mid so they can actually move at all. And the hammer coming out in the middle of everyone picks off the Blaster, but gets picked off. Lily.
Yeah, we saw that trade happening right there. It does look like we are going back into maybe a little bit of a neutral game, but you know, I want to see this tower start moving again, but unfortunately it does start to move back to mid. 2 players down, actually 1 player down on each side. If this is the back line, we might be seeing a little bit of bloodbath happening here once again before anyone can really pick up the tower again. But you know, this is a big lead of 36 that we're already seeing that you know, they need to be able to work around in the last 90 seconds of this game. And being, as you said, Troy, being able to get paint is going to be really crucial for them to be able to take up this space.
Yeah, and they're seeming to do that, and they just picked off 3, so they can actually even push even harder with the past that 36 if they want to. The inkjet battle, I don't know if either of them are going to hit each other, and that goes to Mox. That was a really good inkjet. Oh wait, no, that was a wiper. Lily.
That was a wipe, but you know what? I love seeing those dogfights. They're definitely one of my favorite things to watch in the game at the moment. Does look like Arsenal does get on the tower, but gets picked off once again by Eden here, and they are still going to be definitely trying to take control of this area, but you know, it might be a little bit of a struggle to move back in. They really have to try and play around these stacks at the moment to find a way out. It does look like the fight is happening over here behind the tower, but you know, if any players go down on either side, it can definitely swing back and forth this moment. It does look like 2 players have gone down. Looks like Risu is kind of trying to move back up. Unfortunately gets picked off there. Chuck/Eden is definitely going to be going for the pick. That would be fantastic. This is huge for them. The thing is, Droid, I want to see them to be able to, I really want to see them to be able to get the paint they need on the ground in the last few seconds. Otherwise, they won't be able to do anything in overtime.
And that looks like the end.
That looks like that's going to be game.
Yeah, they just weren't able to get that paint on the map in time, and were just like they got the pick on the ball point, but they did not have time to just have control and be able to push afterwards.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard fought battle towards the end to definitely try and take up that space, but you know, that is going to be there. It was great to see actually the amount of paint control that we were seeing as well, but you know what, Invincible Imagination in the end being able to take that game, not just with that paint control, but actually being able to absolutely, and we saw them really go 3 down at that moment, pushes with the amount of support they were getting from the inkjet as well.
Yeah, and that inkjet always pushed up really far and got all the way onto their plat, past it, and just kept them back while they had control of the mid, and that really helped them push up. in that try with that flank helped them get those little extra points that helped them from getting the comeback. The other team from getting the comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. That was you mentioned that tri-slosher. I really want to see what that tri-slosher might be able to do here on Undertow Spillway Clan Blitz. And as I said before, it's not necessarily something that it's not necessarily a map mode that you tend to see very often in competitive. But you know what? I think this is one that I actually do enjoy whenever it comes up in rotation. Anyway, it's another one where there are those funky little ledges that those tri-sloshers really like to play off of, especially in mid. You know, it's one of those maps where you do have those also like fairly narrow passageways to try and work your way through, but you know, with the help of those bull points, the help of that inkjet, you can definitely have a really big impact here.
Yeah, the tri-slosher is definitely going to be able to use that spine a lot to get in, and the ball points will have to hold. I don't know if we'll see both ball points because one of them isn't completely backline, but I wouldn't be surprised, and so they could hold down pressure in the middle on that class.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like we will be readying up into this next game at the moment. I'm very excited to see. I'm very excited to see what weapons they do choose here because, you know, Clan Blitz. I love Clan Blitz. You really have to play around your paint as well, and we saw the previous game. We definitely saw in the previous game, Invincible Imagination had that really incredible paint control. So let's see what they managed to bring out. At the moment, it looks like we are seeing a ball point on both sides once again. 52 gal also. I like 52 gal. I play 52 gal. 52 gal is fun. It's definitely one that you can like set up in really strong positions here. Because once again, there are those narrow passageways to take control with your wall as well. We are seeing Risu here trying to find a little bit of high ground as well, just to make sure things are painted up just enough so they have enough control to be able to move in. It does look like Eden's attempting to take the spine, but is getting back a little bit. We're going to be seeing what happens here. Droid, what do you reckon needs to happen in order to take this here?
They need to get past that ball point without dying. Somebody needs to pick them off in a good timing, and they do seem to get the yelp. They do get Lily.
Yeah, they do seem to get Arsenal here does seem to be getting a fantastic position here with the inkjet. Having to be careful of Eden's inkjet as well. Eden manages to, I believe, hold back that attempt at a push as well, and Gamer is here with the power clam trying to move up with the rest of their team once again. Droid, we're seeing once again like really good 52 wall placing as well, just to try and move up ahead. But also here, oh my goodness, we just saw a wipeout Droid as that clam basket opens.
Yeah, they have so many clams, and they're gonna get quite a bit of points here. The 52s having those walls to keep them from getting trying to get back out of their base is really useful. And they're just getting more and more, and it's already down to 17, and that's not good for the other team, really.
Yeah, this is definitely not good for the other team, but it does look like with that wipeout, this is going to be that end of that push right here. Now down to 14, this is going to be a tricky push to be able to make a comeback from, but you know, there are still 3 minutes left in the game. Nothing is impossible here. They just have to remain diligent. They have to continue getting these wipeouts. They have to continue being able to push up and getting those clams in, which they do. We're probably going to see an inkjet coming out soon as we do here. Getting another clam, that jump, absolutely impressive. Unfortunately, not being able to get it in, but finally someone manages to pick it up. But unfortunately, Troy, they all go down there.
They all go down after they did get a good push in, but they all got wiped out, and that's not good. And they don't have paint control because they just moved in really fast off of 2 wipeouts. So the other team will be able to make another push here. They have enough clams, and they already have a super clam and 7 clams in inkjet. They're all going in, and yeah, that's already 2 more in. They barely need any more. Lily.
Yeah, it does look like this is probably going to be the game-winning push. We only have a couple of clamps to get in at the moment, and they are looking around to try and get them in right now. But do they have them? They have a power clam online, but nothing else. So I don't think they might even have the time to be able to move up together. And we did see that clam basket close without them actually being able to move up ahead. That power clam that they did have was pushed quite far back, and having to not wanting to fight against that tri-slash, it is definitely going to be a bit of time. But we do finally see them find that opening to get that power clam in once again, and the extra clams that they need to win that game.
Yeah, they really had all the control of the map there. They kept getting push after push, and like when the other team got a push, they went really fast off of it and had 2 wipeouts, and they were able to do that, but they didn't have the paint to keep the other keep them from anti-pushing right away, and they took advantage of that and got the KO.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Heady Hospitality will be winning that game with the scores. The score is currently 1-1 on either side. I'm excited to see what happens in the next game, actually, because you know what, Invincible Imagination, they had a really good amount of paint control in the first game. Heady Hospitality, they had that paint control in the second game, but this one is Splat Zones. This is where paint control, this is where paint is the name of the game. You have to be able to paint that zone. You have to be able to push up and take control of the other team's plat around the spinner. You have to be able to also play around the ledges as well, but also I gotta say it also comes down to being able to move in off that choke point from the spinner in mid as well. Droid. Now, this is a Splat Zones map I really like. What do you think of this one?
I think it's a really good one, and especially with the ballpoint meta in the way that there's a ballpoint on both sides, they'll definitely be keeping those, and it'll work really well to keep control of the map, and there's some really good inkjet spots for it. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting match.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, with the buckets that we've been seeing, definitely strong choices here to pressure those plats and to help. You know, as you said, the inkjet. I reckon those will definitely be a good choice to help them push up, especially from that choke point, moving up onto the plat as well on the other side, which is definitely what you need to be doing in order to maintain your ground here once you've capped that zone. Now, the other thing I actually really like about museum zones is that there's quite a few options for you to move out from. You're not just like moving out from your plat just from like one side itself, but it does look like we are going to be going into the game right now. So let's see what they bring to the table. I'm very excited. We are seeing on the side of Invincible. Hang on. We are seeing actually. No, my mistake. We are seeing a ballpoint on both sides. Invincible Imagination currently bringing out the ballpoint with Arsenal. Heady Hospitality as well also has that ballpoint too. Does look like Heady Hospitality does manage to get the first cap of the game, but that is probably going to be a fairly contested zone here, as they haven't got it quite painted up all the way at the moment. The 2 players have gone down. But, you know, I think they're still going to be holding on here with the tactical coming out, going to be using that to try and push up ahead, Droid.
Yeah, they brought back the 52, which seemed to work again the last round, which makes a lot of sense because it will still work to push up onto their plat after they take control of zone. So they can be very aggressive after controlling zone. But here, the Octopus is trying so hard to get anything they can. Get one, but get picked off afterwards. And
yeah, absolutely. Heady Hospitality at this point still manages to cap the zone once again, bring it down to the 30s. This is a really strong push from them. We are seeing Mox here trying to shark around, see if they can find an opening for their team. Now we did see Invincible Imagination almost be able to retake, almost be able to take the zone with those flashbacks before. But I want to be able to see them get their specials online to take the zone. But it does look like in these last few seconds with this 100-0 push. Oh my goodness, Troy! It does look like that I believe Heady Hospitality ends up taking that game. That was an incredible push.
That was. They had all the pressure. They were very coordinated. Always were like 2-on-1 when defending the zone. were ready with the walls from the double 52. That's a unique comp that actually worked very well, Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, the 52s being such an aggressive weapon worked out really well for them. I gotta say. Now, I do believe we'll probably in a moment be passing over to our analysts, Kirby and We Like Rice. But Joy, do you have any like final thoughts before we pass over to them?
Not really.
Yeah, well, congrats also to Heady Hospitality for being able to make a comeback over Invincible Imaginations. Fantastic paint there. Alright, so we'll be taking a little break and we'll see you soon. And I believe we'll be passing it over to the analysts. Yep, alright, so we'll be back with the next set after we hear from Kirby and Rice about this one.
All right, hello. I'm one of your analysts, Rice, and I'm here with my co-analyst, Kirby. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kirby. This is not much about me.
All right, I believe we're getting to the analyst screen anytime soon with some replays, but just a couple things that I noticed from the both teams is that they both went with inkjet comps, which is pretty common nowadays with just how the meta is, as inkjet being very prevalent.
Yeah, lots of inkjets, and yeah, as the commentator said, I really enjoyed watching like those inkjet like dogfights. Like they're definitely entertaining.
For sure. I do think it was quite interesting from Invincible Imaginations. They most of their comps did not have a single shooter. Like the closest thing they had to a shooter was that ballpoint, and that worked for them for the first map as they did win tower control on Mako. But I think for the next two maps, it was a bit of a struggle, especially for Clan Blitz, where you need to hold as much paint, and then spot zones, well, you need to paint the zone, right?
Yeah, the lack of paint was definitely a big problem that I noticed as well. Like yeah, even in the spot zones, like the lack of shooters or a lot of painting ability was not helping them in the greatest way. But it was very interesting to see, like, you know, not the shooter meta. I've always enjoyed watching like weapons that aren't just shooters, so it's fun to see them take that attempt.
Yeah, well, going back to this first game, I also think it worked out for them because especially on Mako Mart, all these ledges and like the elevation really benefits sloshers and Wiper, especially on this map, and they just were able to hold on to control as much as they could compared to, I think, on the side of Heady Heady Hospitality, where they were just being pushed out by the aggression on the side of Invincible Imaginations.
Yeah. But then, and then the, was that the Clan Blitz game?
Yes,
Definitely
next
also
one was
seeing,
Clan Blitz.
yeah, the Clan Blitz. All those on the Heady Hospitality, when they kept throwing out all those, the whales and the walls, definitely stopping them from pushing forward. and then that stopped them from taking the space that they needed was a great way for what was that, Heady Hospitality to take the win on that and take that great push at the beginning.
Yeah, especially with the walls and the whales on Undertow, they really were just able to hold control as long as they could, as Invincible Invincible Imaginations had a hard time really countering those walls, especially not having too many bombs to throw at the walls to really like shred them.
Yeah. And then it was a good attempt on the Invincible Imagination to get that pushback. I even thought they might have actually overtaken the 14 because I did get, what was it, was it a wipeout that they got? I'm not sure.
I believe they did get a wipeout, yes.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if if there's gonna be a comeback here.
Yeah, I definitely do think also just Invincible Imaginations really could not outpaint Heady Hospitality in Clan Blitz, and we saw that pretty especially on the zones.
The zones, yes.
Yeah. But also I thought it was quite interesting the change of compositions on Invincible Imaginations, while on Heady Hospitality I guess they thought the double 52 gal was a really good way to just have that paint output compared to the other team.
Yeah, and then taking the space with the whales and the walls, like I said earlier, that just helped push them forward and maintain the space that they needed while keeping the high ink output that they were able to have with their weapon comp.
Yeah, I definitely think that Invincible Imaginations, they have a really strong composition. I think some map modes will favor them compared to others, but I think if they play to their strengths, they definitely can get to top cut, because I think especially if they play very aggressive and take lead early like that first game, they can hold on to that lead with the aggression they have.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that.
And that'll be the end of our analysis for this first set, but don't go anywhere. We're getting into our second round, and feel free to just hang around and listen to music.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Lily Gravy Bread. You can call me Lily, and I'm here with Splat Droid. We'll be taking you into round 2 of this. It's dangerous to go alone. We saw round 1 already, and we'll be looking at, actually, we're seeing the teams at the moment: Light Licensing and Neat Notebook. Now, just looking at these rosters we have here, Droid, what do you have anything to say about these weapon comps? I am noticing, actually, perhaps a one-trick carbon deco. Now this should be fun. And I like actually how the rest of the team actually has some pretty good paint output with the shooter options that they have there as well, Droid.
Yeah, the paint output will be really good for the carbon one trick, and I'm excited to see how well they do with it. Because when there's somebody that plays just carbon, you know, they're gonna be pretty great at it. And with the paint along with it, they'll be able to shark pretty well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. But once again, you know, it's a case of like having to play against that play against that paint output as well, because you know, if you want to stop someone from sharking, you got to paint up as much as you can. We will be seeing the map modes at the moment: Hagglefish Market, Rainmaker. This is gonna be one where I do think there'll be some pretty nice spots, especially for the Zuka to come out from the carbon, but also like as a fairly flat map as well. You know, it's one of those really good maps where that carbon can really get in and be a bit of a menace, even if not like necessarily pressuring so much of the ledges. But you know what, there are those ledges that occur once you get around to that first checkpoint and towards the spawn. Does look like we are going into the game at the moment, Droid. So let's see what they bring to the table. We've got a ballpoint again. We don't have a ballpoint on the other side. They're running a fairly short-range comp with pretty much the longest range weapon is gonna be that wiper deco.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very aggressive comp. They're not getting the pop instantly off of that, but they're going to try to go in really fast with that. But the missiles popping out mess them up and get them all over the place. And they're just trying to get in anywhere they can, but they don't really have control yet, Lily.
Yeah, we saw a fairly neutral game. This push is going to be stopped at a score of 79 with Light Licensing taking the lead here. But Brock here, they do go down after looking probably for a pick here. And it is going to be a bit of a mad scramble to be able to take up this space at the moment. But with 3 going down on the side of Neat Notebook, I do believe they are going to be taking that checkpoint, right?
Yeah, and they got that checkpoint, and they want to get that jump over the pedestal to get those little points, and they do manage to, and they get it all the way to 13, which is a really good starting push all the way in the first minute. And Neat Notebook just needs to hold them back and get out of there, but those missiles are not helping their case, Lily.
Oh yeah, those missiles are definitely going to be pushing them back as much as they can. We are seeing a trade happening over on the side there, but My Color's Red does pick up the Raven here. They are being a little bit bombed out at the moment. If they can just hold this just for long enough, they might be able to find an opening here, but they don't have the paint to push forward, Droid.
Yeah, so since they didn't have the paint, they knew they just had to drop it off to the side. That way it would get reset, because they needed it out of there so Light Licensing couldn't get another push right off the bat. But they do still have control, and they're going to go more. There's 2 down on Neat Notebook, and the Rainmaker's just trying to pressure anyone left, Lily.
Yeah, absolutely, and with those 2 players down, this is going to be just like a very, very safe position for them to be in at the moment. However, they do start going down. I want to be able to see Neat Notebook being able to paint up ahead just a little bit more. They do have, like, as we mentioned before, they do have like a really good high paint weapon comp with those shooters that they're playing, but they need to make the most of that in order to be able to get their first push in with only 2 minutes 40 seconds left in the game. We are seeing those specials come out, the Trizuka and the Tri-Strikes just before. We are seeing Brock getting a fantastic pick. It looks like they're taking the space they need. They might be able to find an opportunity with that double to actually start moving up ahead, but Brock goes down at the moment. Tomato's still being pressured back by that wiper. They just need to be able to stay alive here, but I don't think they will, Droid.
They weren't, and there's another trade between the Wiper and the Carbon. They need to get them out of there, or else Light Licensing can get another push. But there are 3 down on Light Licensing, so they can't get any push there off of that trade and double.
Yeah, absolutely. With 2 minutes left in the game, we are seeing Neat Notebook actually have their specials all out. They might be able to actually use this as their opportunity to finally get something in. I'm very excited. And they do finally get their first few points on the board. But we can see only with the Trizuki and being pressured so much by that Inkjet, they couldn't really get much off of that trade.
Yeah, and they're trying to do anything they can to get control, but it's not working very well. Though there's another trade with the Carbon. They try to get in, but they can't really seem to get more than a double for their team yet. And the Licensing is just controlling the mid, popping the Rainmaker every single time is helping them from getting from the Carbon sharking and getting anything more than a double at once.
Yeah, absolutely. I do get pretty excited when we do see Neat Notebook managing to get certain amount of space there. But you know, every time they do, they always manage to go a couple of players down, even if they are getting those picks. We are seeing another pick on Brock, the Carbon player, as well from Kite. So with 2 players down on Neat Notebook. And with Light Licensing, all 4 players up, it looks like in these final 45 seconds, we might be just seeing a very stalled out game as Light Licensing knows that all they need to do here is just make sure that Neat Notebook cannot touch the Rainmaker at all.
Yeah, they just needed to control the mid, and they're picking off one at a time with that Inkjet, the Wiper. That was a really good Inkjet there. And it seems they're going to move the Rainmaker up either way with only 26 seconds left on the map. And that's 3 down for Light Licensing, which is a chance for Neat Notebook to get a push off of that.
Yeah, well, Bazooka shot coming out there, which is definitely going to be working something for them. But, you know, they not only have to get their first checkpoint, but they have to be able to get a lead off of the 13 that Light Licensing managed to get early on. But they are starting to run those points here. They are getting outflanked, unfortunately, by the bullpoint on top of the 10th there. So I don't think this is going to be their... I don't think this is going to be their opportunity to actually be able to push it any further than that checkpoint. But that was a fantastic final run, I have to say, Droid.
Yeah, that was a really good one last try. They got the checkpoint, but they were all there. The ballpoint was ready, and they couldn't get it past the checkpoint. It was just the Carbon left alone, and they could not pop that on their own. And that was just the end of it for Neat Notebook.
Yeah, we saw the fist bump at the end there. I always just love seeing the fist bump of a celebration. But you know what, I gotta say, definitely well played. I know that like when the other team saw, oh, Brock's playing Carbon, they had to like get rid of that Carbon at every single opportunity possible.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to make sure they knew where the Carbon was at all times, and they did that really well. So they never were able to get anything more than a double to be super aggressive, which was good job on Light Licensing, keeping control of the map and paint, so they couldn't get any further.
Yeah, absolutely. It was also, I believe, that final push also when they managed to get 3 players down on the side of Neat Notebook that, you know, there was no recovering from that. So Light Licensing being able to play that really good defense at the end of the game as well, just to secure that win. I know that they did try to push up ahead again, like in the last 20 seconds or so, because they did have that opportunity there. But, you know, I think that opportunity really made it just that little bit more difficult perhaps to be able to take that Rainmaker back over to the other side if Neat Notebook wanted to continue that push.
Yeah, I was surprised that they took it all the way back to their base and tried for that one last push. I mean, there was an opportunity, but there were only 20 seconds left. But it did seem to work out because they had to go farther, and there was more that they had to paint to get back control of the mid to get that checkpoint initially, and there just wasn't enough. So they got picked off one by one until it was just the Carbon left alone, Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. Light Licensing definitely took the opportunity, I think, to be able to make sure that they could just regroup and get into those defensive positions to be able to pick those 3 players off when Neat Notebook were doing their final run for the first checkpoint, I gotta say. We will be going, however, into the next game at the moment, Wahoo World Tower Control. Now, let's see what they bring to the table here. This is another interesting one that I'm very curious to see what happens. The tower, I always find that the tower path is a little bit, so it's a little bit weird here because I kind of
Yeah.
expect it to go over to one side, but it actually goes over to the other side around the elbow. So it's kind of like a tricky position to really try to defend from, because like the main defensive areas, that high ground, the hill on the other side is definitely where I tend to think, okay, that's kind of like designed for defending. It looks like already two players have gone down on the side of Neat Notebook here, Droid.
Yeah, and they're already pushing. Light Licensing has control of the tower and the top mid, and you can't really contest much of that because the tower is just so high up, so they can get that. Brock the Carbon trying to get in and get a pick, but falls down. They're trying to just stop them from getting anywhere with that, but it doesn't seem to be working, Lily.
Yeah, Light Licensing, all players are still up, and they are bringing out the Inkjet to continue that push to the next checkpoint. This looks like things are going very well for them, Droid. We can see, however, it looks like Neat Notebook is trying to get a flank in to try and stop them. Neat Notebook, oh, they just go down right there, actually, on the side of Light Licensing. This is a little bit of a bloodbath around the elbow here, but it does look like Neat Notebook are trying to make a comeback, but they just need to be able to have that paint in order to do it, Droid.
They were able to pick off that ballpoint, who was holding off all of left, so that's really good for them to get back into the bid, and there's 2 down on Light Licensing, so they can get control of the mid right now if they can just paint up enough and keep them back. And there's always another person sharking, so they have to be ready for that and waiting. And the hammer is trying to go in, gets one, it might be able to escape the NSAP before they get picked off, Lily.
Yeah, actually it does look like they managed to escape here, and also with 2 specials still up on the side of Light Licensing, they might be able to like continue taking up space here just to make sure that they have a pretty secure. Wow, I think 3 players have gone down basically on either side here, so the teams are definitely going to have to try and regroup here. That Zuka coming in, but you know what? That splat on Tomato there was definitely going to stop the rest of Light Licensing from, Neat Notebook from being able to come back in too quickly.
Yeah, the ballpoint on Light Licensing was on their own, but they were able to hold them back while their teammates respawned, and that was really good. They got that one pick and stopped them from getting that jump in, so without dying too. So that was really good to keep control of the map. Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Neat Notebook have their numbers down once again. Light Licensing is definitely doing a really good job at making sure that they are keeping the numbers on Neat Notebook down, making sure that they're always pairing up around those fights as well, and having the support to take them out and to push the tower when needed. We're seeing a fantastic zip filter here, just causing a distraction and getting a pick as well, followed up by Shallow on the Inkjet as well, just to clear out that area as the tower starts moving down the elbow. But you know what, with the players coming back down on from Neat Notebook side around the elbow to try and regain control, unfortunately 3 of them go down here, so this might not be the defense that they needed as they get wiped out there, Droid.
Yeah, that was a complete wipeout, and they can probably get past this elbow this time because the ballpoint can reach all the way into their base, and there's not really much Notebook can do here. They don't have any specials. They need to do something, get a couple picks, and they do seem to push them back a little bit, which does help them out. Just got to get them out of their base. They did get them out of the elbow. They didn't get past that checkpoint, which is really good because that once they get past that checkpoint, it's almost always game over. Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Tomato gets a double here, so this could be an opportunity for them with 3 players down on the side of Neat Notebook to be able to just hold this tower. I gotta say, for as much as possible. Hopefully Neat Notebook would be able to actually start moving this tower back. They gotta get it not just through this first checkpoint, but also through the next ones. And I gotta say, as the towers kind of neutralized in the last 40 seconds, we are seeing just these fights breaking out here. I'm not sure if they're able to break back in, and it looks like Light Licensing is going to be jumping on that tower once again.
Yeah, they're jumping out of the tower just to get it back into Neat Notebook's base, but the hammer does pick off a couple, or just two go down on Neat Notebook, and they can't really get anything out of that. And Light Licensing just still has control of the mid, just always ready for one person at a time. It seems like Neat Notebook needs to get in really fast, but that's two down on their team, and it looks like that's going to be the end of it for Neat Notebook. Light
Yeah, it does
Licensing
look like
takes the game.
it does look like Neat Notebook was not able to secure that, not even that first checkpoint there, but they definitely played a very, very strong defense, stopping Light Licensing from being able to take the tower all the way over to the final knockout checkpoint. So Light Licensing, even though they've got these two games down, Neat Notebook, I presume, will be thinking, okay, so we know how Light Licensing are playing. We're gonna try and play off against them to really stop them from being able to take this final game. Neat Notebook might not have this set, but they could be getting this game here. We are seeing actually this replay here when they tried to, when actually Light License tried to like move it through that elbow there. Neat Notebook really trying to pressure them out as well, Droid.
Yeah, they had a pretty good defense once they got to that elbow. They were able to stop them multiple times, which is really good for Neat Notebook, but they couldn't really get the push off to after they got out of their base, after they got to mid, the picks were not in their favor and they couldn't really get a push and have control of the map fast enough to just be in control and get anything at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say though that even though they had a really strong defense here, I'd like to see them bring out that kind of like defensive play as well. That like patiently stopping the other team, patiently stopping Light Licensing in the next game, which we're going to be seeing on Clan Blitz Inkplot, because you know there are some really great defensive options. But I gotta say that like when you're playing on Wahoo Tower, you don't really have like too many options to defend from here. It's kind of like a bit of a mad scramble, a bit of like a bloodbath that you're dealing with, especially around the elbow, to try and clear anyone out because you're in such a small space, Trade.
Yeah, it was always, everybody was just scrambling to get any picks they could when they got to the elbow. They were trying anything they could to get them to just stop pushing, and they were able to pull it off and defend really well. And Light Licensing couldn't get that push off to the KO, but they just couldn't get past the mid there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone new coming in, this is, by the way, It's Dangerous to Go Alone. We are currently in round 2 and watching games between Light Licensing and Neat Notebook. These are two, I guess you'd describe them as kind of pickup teams of free agents, and these have been grouped together to try and like fight each other in these first 4 rounds that we'll be taking you through. But this is going to be Clan Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy. This is like probably my favorite map mode in the game. It's definitely one where you got to have like a really good sense of awareness of who might be coming from where, because there are quite a few options to push here, Droid.
Yeah, there are many ways to get in, and with the clams and everything, and that will be very good for the Carbon if they can get control of the map with their shooters. They do have an end zap and a splatter shot on their team, which can get control of the map and help them have enough paint. And the Wiper just picks off 3, and there's instantly in the clam blast basket trying to get the Carbon, gets the Carbon too, and almost gets another Lily.
Yeah, 2 players do go down there, so so that was like a really good defense, I have to say, to really clear out, not just like on that Wiper attempting to clear out that plat, but you know, once they notice that Wiper, see, we're gonna get rid of them, otherwise they're gonna make a really strong push off of this. They managed to actually remove them from the game at just the right moment before anything worse happened there. Now, 4 players are up. They do have the Inkjet online, so they could, and they have quite a lot of pink as well, so they could potentially make a push off of this with that power clam. But I don't think necessarily they are going to just yet. They need a few more, bit more paint as well, and kind of if they lose that power clam, which I do believe that they have, it's not going to be working out for them to be able to make an attempt there. However, we are seeing the Wiper perhaps going for a flank as well to try and clear out that area once again, Droid.
Yeah, the Wiper seems to be there without Neat Notebook being able to know they're there, and they get that super clam in. The hammer does not work out, but they get something in, and that's That's all they really needed. They just wanted a little bit, but they do get 3 down. They do still have map control, but the other Neat Notebook could push off of that since 3 went down on light licensing.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, actually, we did see the Wiper setting up a really, really good super jump for the power climb as well, which is definitely what helped them get it in. But you know, this wasn't a very big push. They only managed to get that extra climb in after that power climb. So I want to be able to see them have an even bigger push of this, because you can get a very you can still get, like, it's not too difficult to get a lead off of a score of 77 here, especially on Inkblot Art Academy, where if you do have all of your players in line, if you do have your specials coming out, you can definitely get something going. You see the Kraken coming out, getting a pick on Kira here. Does look like they're looking for another one as well, at least trying to make sure that that ramp is dangerous for them to go up, Droid.
Yeah, they could not push up there. They had the hammer, but the Kraken just outplays it because they just have the invincibility get through them, and just stops them from going anywhere with that after what they were using it for. The Inkjet does pop out, gets 2 in almost a third, and George is trying so hard to stop them, but light licensing is pushing up really hard into Neat Notebook Lily.
Oh, we saw that Wiper go down as they picked up, as they had the power clam as well. They did have quite a good clam economy going for them, but it does look like they are being held back as much as possible. So to try and stop them from being able to make a push in. Now, the defense is really strong against them at the moment, even though they did get that early scoring. But I want to see the other team being able to score off of this, and it does look like, unfortunately, they don't. As another power clam has gone in, but I'm not sure if necessarily the rest of the team is able to follow up on this trade.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they were able to follow up and just got just a little bit of points. So that did give them that did give Neat Notebook another super clam to be able to push with. But light licensing it has been keeping control of the mid mostly to stop Neat Notebook from pushing up at all, and the Carbon trying to find a good spot to just get enough clams and throw one in, but they get hit. The hammer comes back out of nowhere and is in their base again. Lily.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was a bit unfortunate seeing Brock go down there on the side of Neat Notebook. But you know what? I think that with the last 45 seconds, it's still not a very big push. They only need those 2 power clamps to go in, and they can take the game here, I gotta say. But the thing that they have to fight against at the moment is the space that light licensing is taking up. We can see them really taking control of the plat here, even though 2 players have gone down. Maybe they can, in the last 30 seconds, maybe if George gets a few clams, tries to set up something here, tries to win a fight. Don't go down to the bomb. Okay, thank goodness I don't get down to the bomb there, but it does look like they are trying to move back in. It's just a matter of light licensing at the moment, playing the defense for the last 10 seconds here, and I don't think that they have any specials online, but Neat Notebook does. So if they manage to work together and don't go down, which unfortunately 2 players have gone down in Neat Notebook, as we go into overtime, it does look like with that 3rd player going down as well, and with all those picks happening on the side of light licensing, it does look like, oh my goodness, it does look like this overtime is going to end soon, and light licensing takes game 3.
Yeah, they barely didn't grab that super clam and probably didn't even have enough time to get across the map to throw that into. And that's light licensing for you. They had control of the map the whole time and were just they had little pushes, but that was all they really needed because they were playing very passive and defensive the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very, very strong game, I have to say, from Neat Notebook, playing the defense as well. It was definitely very difficult for light licensing to be able to get any big pushes here off the power clams. But you know what? That first push where they managed to actually set up their Wiper, they knew that they had the Wiper player to be able to create that flank, to be able to get up onto the bats, to be able to provide that super jump in. That was a very impressive first push rather. But I have to say, I think that like whenever Neat Notebook noticed that Wiper is on our plat, they managed to do everything that they could to stop them from having a big effect after that droid.
Yeah, they had a really good defense at the start there. They were able to keep that Wiper back even when they were almost 3 down, and that was really good timing to keep them back. They got them out of there, and nobody else was there from light licensing, so they couldn't push off of that just yet. But that flank with that flank where they got that one super clam and one clam in, it really helped them just secure like that they have control. They're ready, and they got a little bit of points, but it wasn't going to be enough at first, so they had threw another in, and that was all they really needed.
Yeah, absolutely. But I gotta say that, like, even if they managed to get that power climb in, what the thing that they did really well was to be able to have that space, have that control over the other team's plat, in order to just like assert their presence and stop the rest of Neat Notebook from being able to push out from there as well. Now we have gone through light licensing versus Neat Notebook. This was round 2. We are going to pass it over to our analysts in a few moments in order to hear their thoughts on this set, and I think we'll be going on a short little break for now.
Welcome back, everyone. We are the analysts. I am Kirby with my co-analysis, Rice. We are here to just, if you weren't guys here around for the first match, we are here to just analyze, go over the match again, talk about some points that we noticed and some things that happened during the match.
Yeah, we're starting off first at the Rainmaker Hagglefish game. Something I just noticed very early on is there's double Wiper Deco on each side, so both teams can play off these missiles. But we do see light licensing just taking that early initiative, being very proactive, and taking that first push into the side of Notebook, while Neat Notebook is still sort of recovering from going 2 down early.
Yeah, right here when this Wiper gets the kill, it was very like noticing like, oh, sorry. Yeah, and so they're able to make that push there. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we do see Neat Notebook does do a pretty good plays pretty good defense here, but they light licensing always just keeping up pressure during this whole game. That Zuka gets a really nice snipe onto Rainmaker, and that gives Neat Notebook a really good opportunity to get back in, but just getting picked off at unfortunate times.
Yeah, something we definitely noticed was a lot of the looping specials that the light licensing was doing, doing specials after specials, keeping that pressure on, making sure that Notebook could never get an opportunity to move in. And yeah, that Carbon was definitely very scary, seeing it run around, like taking all the kills it can get.
Yeah, definitely. With all these, the good thing on the side of Light Lightning, I think, was they kept up a lot of paint pressure during this whole game. Even though the Carbon Roller did get a couple kills, light licensing always kept up paint control, while Neat Notebook was actually struggling a little bit on that end.
Yeah, and so now onto the tower control game, we noticed that there were definitely coolers on both sides, seeing that thrown around often, making sure both teams got their buffs, especially seeing also, like, even every time the ballpoint whipped out that inkjet, I was terrified, and being like, all right, someone's got to die. Who's it going to be this time?
Yeah, definitely. And again, as we said earlier, light licensing just always having that early push, that early aggression, and that's something I noticed throughout the whole set, where light licensing did not uh did not forfeit the pressure that they had. Even if they were down, they just made sure that the ballpoint could get doing a really good job of being an anchor
Yeah, and then even on light licensing side, both their very aggressive weapons, the
Getting
Wiper-
jumps in and letting their uh yeah, while the wiper the wiper and brush I thought did a really good job pairing up, going in together and being that distraction that both weapons do really well at just making Neat Notebook have to look the other direction and not focus on an objective.
Yes, and even like we said earlier, the constant looping of the specials. There's always one special out. They had light licensing had 2 recall specials, and they used it just slightly staggered so that once one went down, there was still another one the notebooks had to still deal with.
Yeah, definitely. And even with those recalls, even with the recall special, they always had those recalls in a pretty aggressive position. So once they came back to their recall, they can just go back into action and keep fighting with the rest of their team.
They were also placed in very safe positions. I don't think once they were ever caught off guard from their recall. It was always guarded at the back, or especially like the Wiper, who has the missiles and not recalling, is able to make sure they stay in front and no one gets past them to be able to get to those recall spots.
Yeah, their team. Something that I did notice a lot, I think, especially in this tower control game, is Neat Notebook was playing a little more split up, and I felt like they were taking a lot of 1v1s, where that might have been a deficit for them compared to on the side of light licensing in general, was just playing very together and coordinated. Whenever someone needed help, another person was there to come in.
Yes, and now on to the Clan Blitz match. That early kill with the Wiper sitting around in their base, waiting around for more kills. That was very cool.
Yeah, and we see that there's also a Kraken on the side of Neat Notebook. They could have made this Kraken jump, and I think if we get to the end here, they do try to get that Kraken set up, but on the side of light licensing, they were able to just kill the Kraken before they can even go in for that clam jump.
Yeah, good job to light licensing for keeping up on all of those 3 games. I believe that is it from us. We will be passing it back to the commentators. All right, actually, we do have. Sorry. We do have some time just to go over the next few matches. So we have Splat Zones on Mako Mart, Rainmaker on Humpback, and we have Tower Control on Manta Maria. Do you have any notes for us, Rice?
Yeah, so we saw Mako Mart earlier, but it was actually Tower Control instead of Splat Zones. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of similar things where we're going to see a lot of sloshers, a lot of maybe rollers, just things that can play off elevation and ledges very easily. What do you think about that, Kirby?
Yeah, we definitely saw it also in like the first game. I don't remember the team names, but they were definitely playing to like the fact that they had the sloshers and able to hit over the ledges. And then even in Pump Track, there's a little bit of the ledges there and a lot of elevation up in high ground. So for those rollers and the buckets, they have a big advantage here.
Yeah, and especially on Rainmaker Humpback, this map is very unforgiving. If you especially after the first checkpoint, you need to be extremely careful when you're on defense to not wipe or go 3 down while the other team is continuing that push.
Yeah, that straight line for after the checkpoint is definitely a very hard place to defend when you have a very big mob of players pushing in and trying to get to the very end.
Yeah, for sure. And Moving on to the next map and mode, we have tower control on Manta Maria. What do you think of this map mode specifically, Kirby?
Often when I play it, I find it very hard to push through those checkpoints. Having like all those checkpoints, I feel like there's something always there that's high ground that will just look over and then just have maybe a bucket or a roller just throw a few sloshes and all of a sudden nobody's on the tower anymore. I find it's not my favorite map, but it's definitely a very interesting one to try and push forward.
Yeah, definitely. Tower control Manta Maria, it's really, especially that second checkpoint. The second checkpoint where you're just going into a tunnel, it's really tough. And as a team pushing through that checkpoint, you need to make sure someone is able to cover that left side of the tower and someone covering the right side where the street and that bunker area is, because as the defending team, you have a lot of angles and places to go off of.
Yeah. All right, I think that is actually that is it from us now. We will see you guys around after the next set.
Welcome back, everyone, to It's Dangerous to Go Alone. I'm Lily Grovey, but you can call me Lily, and I'm here with Splatdroid. We'll be taking you through the next two sets of the preliminary rounds of Power Bracket. Now, we had a few interesting things that our analysts said about the next couple of map modes. Splatdroid, I'm wondering, what do you think of what we'll be seeing here on Mako Zones?
Mako Zones is going to be a very good map for sloshers, just like back in Tower, like we saw earlier. And if there's just like any kind of really aggressive shooter or slosher, will be really good for getting around the stacks or the zones and just keeping control. You never know when somebody might pop up, because this is a really good sharking map for any kind of frontliner. And it seems
speaking of sharking, actually, it does look like Axel might be playing some very sharky weapons on the side of Jaded Judo, with not only the carbon but also an ink brush, which could be a pretty good sharking choice, I've got to say. But you know what, with the buckets on Cowardly Cobweb as a potential option here, we might be even seeing some very difficult moments for Jaded Judo to try and take control of those stacks here on Mako Zones.
Yeah, and I see that they've got a squeezer one trick on Jaded Judo, and that's gonna be very aggressive. And when there's a squeezer, squeezers are scary when they know how to use it. So that's definitely they're gonna hold back the sloshers when they can, and have to just make sure they're not caught by surprise from them.
Oh yeah, Squeezer can definitely catch people by surprise. It really comes down to being able to position in a very safe area that you can just like make use of the range that you have. And also, I find that like having a wall can also really help with taking control over like specific areas as well. It does look like we are going to the game at the moment. I'm very excited to see what they bring to the table here. We are seeing, however, a Zekafin. We're seeing like a double wall comp on zones. Now, this is quite interesting. It does mean that they kind of lose out on bombs, but we might be restarting this match in just a moment. Yeah, it looks like we might just have to restart this match, but yeah, I gotta say, actually, I think having the double wall comp was kind of interesting for zones, and it does mean it's going to be difficult to make the other team from being able to push past that little alley or breakfast. I always prefer calling it breakfast because it's like a funnier. It's just a better call out name for it. I actually really love the names call outs here on Mako Mart.
Yeah, the goofy callouts are always the best ones, and you're exactly right with the walls. They'll definitely be able to hold off the breakfast or alley, and also in the middle with the zone in the bag, they'll be able to hold off the sides of the bag, and they'll have to go around. The other team will have to go around them fast, because that's a really good place to hold them. I know I struggle against walls on this map mode for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I do think that like even if you don't have the options to like bomb players out and actually like push in and take zones with those bombs as well, having those walls I reckon is definitely going to be a strong choice here. We might just have to still wait for a few moments before we go back into the game. I know actually, I think on the side of Jaded Judo, Nub has been like a junior player for quite a long time, and having the support as well, having the really strong, consistent paint output, I reckon is going to definitely help have specials online, especially if it's something like Tactical as well, because I do see that they are playing some weapons with very common specials, especially in this meta as well with the Tactical. Actually, you know what, Super Chumps? What do you reckon of Super Chumps in this meta? Since like the patch happened.
Since the patch, they've been a lot better for sure, but I still don't see how they work too well yet. At least not against the current like crab and everything. But they seem to be they're slowly rising, and I think they could still be good. Like maybe at least on zones for just distracting and like to go around like in this zone specifically, since it's one big zone, and now the radius of the chumps are a lot bigger. I think it could actually be very good for distracting them with the jumps.
Alright, it looks like we are going into the game. At the moment, we have our players all ready and waiting, and we are once again actually not seeing chumps, but we are actually seeing a Tri-Slosher, the only bucket in this game at the moment. It's kind of unusual to see only one bucket in Mako Zones match, but here we have it with that Tri-Slosher. It does look like they already go down, and Cowardly Cobweb is going to be trying to take control over Jaded Judo's stack over here. Definitely going to make it difficult for them to be able to move in as the score keeps pushing down into the 70s for Cowardly Cobweb. But I reckon this crab is going to have something to say for that to try and help the team push back in. But I don't think it's quite enough to help them just yet.
And that's 2 down on Cowardly Cobweb. So Jaded Duo should be able to get some penalty points on the zone, which is really good because they were going down really fast, and they just need to get their specials back to push back here. They're popping the Tactical, or they're all juiced up, ready to go. And the hammer throw almost snipes one, and that's a really good snipe on the Inkjet from the Secco Fin.
Yeah, absolutely, a very, very good snipe. This is Cowardly Cobweb still having their numbers tick down, but it does look like the zone gets neutralized, and Jaded Judo, with the help of that Inkjet, 2 Inkjets at once, actually getting those picks as well, helping them secure that zone and making the score run down. It does look like their ball point does go down, and we can see Nub here noticing a bit of trouble happening over the side there, but we're going to be making sure at least that with control of the stack, or at least trying to clear players out as much as possible from the other side, they can at least try and get some more control over the zone. But with 3 players going down, a kind of soft wipe here, Jaded Judo is going to be using this opportunity to really start pushing up and continue their push, perhaps even getting lead here, Droid.
Yeah, they got the lead there. They have control of the map. They have a lot of paint on the map and already, and keeping them back. But Cowardly Cobweb does have 3 specials. They popped the Inkjet, the Zuka, and their strikes and the crab, and they're definitely getting the cap there because a few went down on Jaded Duo. Well, they're just trying to find anyone might have been sharking to the side, and looks like they're gonna have to jump out here. The Crab trying to keep control of the mid slowly. The try does get one, almost another. The Wipers, there goes the Wiper too, and that's 3 down on Cowardly Cobweb. So Jaded Duo can have Judo have more points.
Yeah, that was a wipeout that we saw actually. Jaded Judo using this opportunity once again to push up and really pressure that Sniper, getting a great pick. Oh, 3 down on the side of Cowardly Cobweb as well. This looks like Jaded Judo is really in the position they want to be. This is definitely going to be something difficult for Cowardly Cobweb to break out of at the moment, having to deal with these flanks, having to deal with all this like paint from Jaded Judo around them as well. But you know, with those 2 players down, actually I don't think they're able to push back out. Looks like the game ends up going to Jaded Judo there as they finally managed to take the score all the way down to 0. It was a little bit of a tricky push for them to get in at the start, but once they had that lead, I have to say, definitely managed to really find their footing and know exactly when and how to push up and stop Cowardly Cobweb from being able to retake the zone at any point they tried.
Yeah, the Tri-Slasher really was able to get in after they got that lead and was ready to hold them off for quite a while, and that worked really well, and they had complete control of the mid, which stopped Cowardly Cobweb from getting back after that, and it was just like a 1 downhill slope, and Jaded Duo was just able to get the knockout off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do remember, however, the initial push was really strong from Cowardly Cobweb, and them knowing that they have to take Jaded Judo's stack as well, just to make sure that they have as much control, they have as much high ground as possible. We're seeing those tri-strikes come out as well. Definitely the plays that they wanted to be able to get that initial first push, and it was like a really good push as well, down to like the low 40s as well. That's something that is always going to be very strong on splat zones, and can be like a little bit tricky to kind of retake from if you manage to not only get that big of a lead, but also be able to position far ahead enough to really like retain that as well. Unfortunately, however, I do think Cowardly Cobweb, once Jaded Judo managed to get a lead off of them, unfortunately just couldn't break out there. They couldn't retain the space that they really wanted to take up in that game.
Yeah, and they
we'll
just held them off really well at the end there.
We'll be going on to Humpback Pump Track. I wonder if they'll be bringing out any similar strategies here, Droid, on Rainmaker Humpback. I know that this one can go pretty fast.
Yeah, it can be a complete downhill slope after the first checkpoint here, because once you get the first checkpoint, you just have to go through. If you can just get 1.5 wipeouts, that's just to like instantly a knockout. And we're starting up here, and there is the Tri-Slosher and Squeezer coming back, and that's the Slosher coming out instead on the other side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they make these buckets work for them, because I know that when you have like the kind of interesting curvy interesting geometry in this map, you can definitely get some really good value out of the bucket class for sure. And it does look like one player has already gone down on the side of Jaded Judo, but it looks like also Cowardly Cobweb loses their Tri-Slasher here. It is still a bit of a fight for mid at the moment, but you know, Jaded Judo is already going for that checkpoint. They see the clear path, and they actually manage to take it with the rest of the team already pushing up ahead into Cowardly Cobweb's window at the moment, making sure they can clear them out as much as possible. Looks like we are seeing a very, very big push here, and they just have to get through this. They have the Inkjet that they have to fight against, pushing them back, and also the Inkfac, I have to say, Droid. Inkfac is a very interesting, very fun choice to see in this current meta, Droid.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be working a little bit better in Rainmaker nowadays, because it can really hold off destroy whole choke points and keep them from pushing as it did there, and was able to keep them from getting anywhere past 39. And they are just trying to get back in the mid, but they do seem to get 3 down on Jaded Duo. So Cowardly Cobweb trying to push up and get the mid, but it's a 2v2 here. Lily.
Yeah, it is. We have to see like one of the teams or the other team try to like win one of these fights and try to take control here. We're seeing Cowardly Cobweb slowly trying to move up and just make sure that they have the space in front of the Rainmaker before they even think about picking it up here. They do have their specials coming out with that Zuka, with that Inkjet as well, but they're gonna be bombed out by Jaded Judo here, and also with the Crab Tank coming in to stop any attempt at a push as well. It does look like Jaded Judo is actually coming back and retaking mid as well, and trying to look for some big spot. Unfortunately, their bucket does go down, but they do have the Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker does seem to be getting that player stuck in there. They barely got away somehow. And there's just one down on Cowardly Cobweb, and so they can't really push off of that. That's two to go down on Jaded Duo, and that was good defense with that Inkjet. Kept them back at the right point because they were stuck in that choke point by that checkpoint, and they couldn't really do anything about it because they couldn't swim backwards, Lily.
Yeah, no, I want to be able to see Cowardly Cobweb find an opportunity for them to actually get some points on the table for them, because we have just over 2 minutes left that they haven't quite got anything yet. Every single attempt that we've seen has kind of been bombed out by Jaded Judo as well, but we are seeing them actually get a Crab Tank out and actually start moving up kind of slowly towards that first checkpoint. It does look like they are going to be pushed back a little bit by those Shrine Strikes, but they do manage to find an opportunity to get it in at that moment and try go for the next one with the help of that Inkfact once again, trying to like make that Crab Tank as minimally as effective as possible on the side of Jaded Judo. They are going to be running it, they are going to be seeing if they can get a lead off here, but it's very difficult to see them, I believe, push it up with any speed here. Nub here on the Rainmaker just playing very, very patiently, knowing that if they go down, that's going to be end of that push, unfortunately for them. Droid.
3 go down on the Cowardly Cobweb, and they almost got that push out there. They got the checkpoint, but they couldn't get past there because of the specials. The strikes and the whale came out at good times when they were all stuck in the choke, so they got them out of there, got Nub out of with the Rainmaker. And there's even more defense from Cowardly Cobweb, ready for Jaded Duo to try to make a push, but they were not able to do it because they were there with the Charger. The Charger got a really nice double there, and now it's a Crab Tank fight, just trying to control the mid, trying to control where that Rainmaker is. Nobody can go there without getting splatted, really. Lily.
Yeah, absolutely, and those Crab Tanks now out of the picture, and one player down on Jaded Judo. I think Cowardly Cobweb, with the help of this Inkjet, I want to see them be able to paint up as much of mid as they can to be able to push in as well and try and stop Jaded Judo from pushing them out, but it is going to be very difficult for them, especially with those that really nice double from Knife as well. Knife's been getting some really good consistent picks throughout this game, so this has been definitely working wonders for Cowardly Cobweb to make sure that Jaded Judo's numbers are down as much as possible to stop them from being able to find that opportunity to pick up the Rainmaker. We only have a couple seconds left, and it looks like that game ends right there. Droid.
Yeah, the Crab Tank was just ready there.
Yeah, that game, I really enjoyed seeing how Cowardly Cobweb were able to finally find that opening to take that first checkpoint, but like throughout the game I noticed that Jaded Judo was definitely bombing them out and also like pushing them back with very effective tri-strikes as well before they were able to like find that opening to actually take the checkpoint. But Cowardly Cobweb, on the other hand, when they had that first checkpoint, that was very, very clear for them to take it. They didn't have to deal with the kind of defense that they were pushing on Jaded Judo throughout any attempts that they tried to push as well. So I reckon it definitely worked out in their favor. Anytime Cowardly Cobweb tried to anytime Jaded Judo tried to push, but Cowardly Cobweb's when they did manage to push in, when they did have the Inkfact to help them support, unfortunately I think it was just not quite enough for them to deal with Jaded Judo's defense. Droid.
Yeah, Jaded Judo was able to have that paint and keep them back in their own base because the vac was stopping them from controlling that one spot, but they couldn't get past that one couldn't get past the checkpoint because there was just too much paint from Jaded Judo that kept them from getting any farther at all.
Yeah, I gotta say though, like in this replay, when we do see the ink vac come out, that was a really good stop to like prevent prevent Jaded Judo from being able to actually move that Rainmaker up too far. So we did see like some really good ink vac moments in this game. Anyway, I have to say, Droid.
Yeah, the ink vac was very well played. Like they did it, they used it at very opportune moments, especially with that defense, like you were talking about. They stopped them from getting any farther than when they launched it off. It got the Rainmaker, and they were able to push up and get 2 more, and they were able to get a push off of that, and it all worked out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be going to the third game, which is Tower Control Manta Maria. Now, I often find that this can be a bit of a tug of war. I always describe this map mode as a bit of a tug of war, because you know that like getting through those checkpoints, actually getting past mid, can be a pretty big ordeal here, Droid. But I'm curious what you think we'll be seeing here.
Yeah, Manta Tower, the ink, if they bring back that ink vac, then it will be very good for because there are smaller choke points for the checkpoints and stuff for the ink vac to be able to stop pushes and keep them out of there, and like just launch it in very small spots and usually get at least a pick or 2.
Yeah, we are seeing actually the Hydra Splatline come out, which is interesting. I think it would be a good choice as well, with having the Booyah Bomb online to be able to clear out those choke points, which can be kind of small, and then like definitely help them to have a little bit of extra support getting those what are they called again? The checkpoints as well. We are seeing, however, a bit of a bloodbath. 2 players have gone down on either side. We are seeing Cobweb with the crab tank, but also Judo returning with another crab tank as well. It is a fight for mid at the moment, but it does look like Jaded Judo, if they can find an opportunity to get out of the tower, I do believe they might be able to get something here.
They got
actually,
one
I'm
down.
not sure anymore.
Yeah, they don't really have control of the map. It's like just back and forth here, like one pick after the other on both sides. And the Zuka does come out and gets one on the Tri-Slosher, and Cowardly Cobweb is able to take control of the mid and get at least to the first checkpoint, while the Hydra's trying to keep control of the bunker, but cannot really do that. There's another person there too. And they're all bunched up there, and the Booyah Bomb does come out and gets the Tri hiding on the wall while they got past the checkpoint, gets another. The Hydra is there and ready, and there's nobody there except for one, but there's too many from Cowardly Cobweb for them to deal with that. Actually, they do get those 2, Lily.
Yeah, you know, I have to say that when that Zuka came out, I knew that this was the start of a pretty big push, especially all things considered on Manta Maria Tower Control, and having that Booyah Bomb to follow up to help clear that next, or at least to help get them to that next checkpoint, was definitely a very well timed, very well placed Booyah Bomb as well. But now we are seeing, push in the other direction from Jaded Judo. We can see the Inkjet come out trying to clear out this top left area, hopefully try and stop any actually, you know what, we can see a pretty well painted street here, so this is going to help them get lead even, I gotta say. But Cobweb, I think they have something to say about this as they are pushing back, especially with Nub on the crab tank here, trying to give them opening to take back mid for their team, Droid.
Yeah, and they were able to get back right after the lead, and that's not a big lead, so they can probably get that back pretty without too much difficulty if they can just keep control of the mid. And they did get another pick and have the paint around the mid, have the Booyah Bomb coming out on the choke point in the alley. And the Sloshers trying to contest the tower on their own and actually scares the Hydra off, which is really good for them. The crab tank coming out from Nub doesn't even see the Tri, and the Tri almost manages to splat them, but doesn't manage to get that splat. And to go down on Jaded Judo, and Cowardly Cobweb has another chance to push a little bit more. Lily.
Yeah, Cowardly Cobweb is definitely going to be taking this opportunity and running with it. We can see already the tower is going to the next checkpoint, perhaps being able to get a lead back off of Jaded Judo, and they just have to wait it out just for a couple of seconds. But unfortunately, Jaded Judo manages to push them off here, stopping that lead. They only managed to get 1 point and takes out takes out Cowardly Cobweb completely, so we can see them pushing up, taking that flank as well, getting the tactical out. They know that they They know that they are in a dangerous position with only a score 2 points apart. They really need to be thinking about taking up as much space, making it as impossible for the other team to be able to push again as they can.
Yeah, and it seems like they pushed up a little too hard because they did get picked off one, but a couple of them did get picked off, but they still have control of the mid, so Cowardly Cobweb is 2 down and cannot really get a push off of that. But the Hydra just gets a really nice double, so they can't get over there. The trying to just shark up and get them, but barely misses them and gets splatted, and that's still Cowardly Cobweb trying to control the mid. They almost have it, and Lily.
Yeah, they almost have mid. It does look like they are getting set up to do something as well. They need, in these last 45 seconds, to be able to get past that checkpoint. Neither team have cleared that checkpoint, and it's only a couple of seconds to be able to get that. We are seeing the Crab Tank, we are seeing the Zuka try and clear out that area as well. So this looks like this could be their opportunity to take a lead back off of them, but I don't know if they're able to do it. They do have someone on the tower. It looks like they do manage to get lead in these last 30 seconds, and they are continuing this push down into the 30s droid. Things are looking up for them as 3 plays have gone down the side of Jaded, Judo, and Cowardly Cobweb are still making their push down to 21. It does look like they lose it here, but in these last 10 seconds, I don't think they'll be able to get back onto the tower as 3 plays have gone down on Cowardly Cobweb. But you know what? Jaded Judo, they got to take this into overtime. They know that they have to make a really big overtime push to be able to come back off of Cowardly Cobweb. Is very, very impressive push there. We can see a great pick from the Zuka happening here, but I don't know if Cowardly Cobweb, if they're able to actually come back and get them off, I think that this is going to be actually the final game-winning push for Cowardly Cobweb. All they have to do is defend here, droid, and with this Crab Tank coming out, but with the Inkjet coming out in the skies as well, just really trying to pressure them. They just need to throw everything they can this time to try and get them up here. It looks like with that double and with that second checkpoint being taken and 3 players going down on Jaded Judo, Cowardly Cobweb takes game 3 and takes the set 3-0 against Jaded Judo. That was an exciting final 30 seconds of the game, I have to say. Droid, what did you think of that?
Yeah, they almost got that there because the Inkjet did distract Nub's Crab from being able to focus on the tower because they were being shot at. So that was a really well-timed Inkjet, but it just wasn't enough with when the hammer came out. That really got the last bit of them, and they just couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely an incredible. I have to say, seeing them take that final, actually seeing I believe Jaded Judo actually take that final game.
I think the colors were messed up, possibly.
Yeah. Seeing Jaded Judo actually take that final game, it was definitely a great push. A great push from Cowardly Cobweb into overtime, or one of the teams anyway. But you know, we did see a very, very impressive lead. Once again, you know, it is that idea that this map mode is a little bit of a tug of war, which I tend to see, like, you never really know who's gonna win here. I think Droid, you never really know.
Yeah, you never really know. That was back and forth the whole time, and the comeback on this map is like, it's really downhill, and if you just have the specials at the right points, they could have gotten that off. They were really close, and they almost got it there, but the hammer and the crab really stopped them from getting any farther after that.
Yeah, I gotta say, very impressive being able to take one game off of Cowardly Cobweb. So kudos to Jaded Judo in that final game. Cowardly Cobweb still takes the set, however. They do still take the set, and we'll be hearing soon, after we go on a little bit of a break, we'll be hearing from our analysts Kirby and Rice about what they have to say about what we just saw.
All right, and welcome back to the analyst desk. So we don't really have too much time to go over this set, as the next set is almost ready to start, but we can cover just the brief things that we saw, what did you think about this first game on Splatoon's Mako, Kirby?
Some very good sniper shots. I was watching a lot of those, and I really enjoyed seeing them. Like I was not even noticing them before until after they happened.
Yeah, this Charger getting some really good snipes, and something I did notice a lot from the Charger is their positioning. They knew when to move up and when to back off. They used the strikes at very good times, either to cap zone or to help their team push up a little more. But towards the end, just unable to, really fight against the aggression that Jaded Judo had.
Yeah, especially because we were talking about before, like the slosher being able to jump over hit over the walls and the ledges being a big thing, especially for this map, and they definitely took advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure. And we see like Jaded Judo, they do have this more aggressive comp with a more mobile backline of a ballpoint, whereas Cowardly Cobwebs had the Charger, so they needed to play a little slower. And I think this was to the advantage of Jaded Judo, as every time they did have an aggressive push, they got onto the enemy plat and made sure they held pressure up there.
Yeah, and at one point I think they both pulled out the inkjets, and they were both shooting around, and it was causing mass panic and lots of kills happening all at the same time, and definitely big distractions as well with double inkjets happening.
Oh, definitely. Having those two jets out, it's pretty much pick your poison, right? You either run away and someone else kills you, or you look at the inkjet and they say, "Hello, you're dead now."
Yes, it's a lot of that.
Yeah, but moving on to the second map, I think again with the aggression on the side of Jaded Judo, they had an overall advantage here, but it was very back and forth, and I think the V Charger with that vacuum was really good.
Yeah, I feel like we don't see that often with the vanilla or the original Charger using the vacuum. People tend to choose the one with the ink strikes. But yeah, being able for them to be able to push forward and then use it to defend a checkpoint. And then now we're looking at the tower control game.
Yeah, and we see on this tower control game, it was really back and forth, and I have to say props to Cowardly Cobweb. They got to the second checkpoint, and they were able to get past that towards the end, and they had the lead throughout this whole game, and making sure that they kept up the pressure, and the Hydra, I think, was the key to that on this map specifically.
Yes. I believe.
And I think this is pretty much it for us on the analyst test. Next set is ready and up for our commentators. So let's throw it back to Lily and Droid.
Welcome back, everyone, to It's Dangerous to Go Alone. I'm Lily Bread, and I'm here with Splat Droid. You can just call me Lily Droid. we have a very interesting situation here. I'm looking at the current Swiss scores actually, and regarding who's going to be moving into top cut, we definitely have actually a four-way tie, and one of these teams is going to have to be knocked out of a potential top cut, out of Obsequious, Omnivore, Grandiose Grandchild, Oddly Cobweb, and Bilowy, Barber. So this is definitely going to be an interesting match of all time. It could definitely come down to this between Obsequious, Omnivore, and Bilowy, Barber here. So, Droid, over to you. What do we reckon of these rosters here, of these possible weapon choices?
I'm very surprised by the rapid pro deco one trick. I mean, I know it's been coming into the meta, but wow, just playing that's going to be exciting to see, because I really like seeing some good players playing on that, and it could work really well in some map modes.
Oh, absolutely. And having like a rapid pro deco definitely provides a very good answer actually to the inkjet meta as well. And I've seen like quite a few games where once you have that pressure on the inkjet, you can actually start to make some very significant plays off the back of that. Now, we will be seeing, however, the map modes come in. Flounder Heights, Clan Blitz. I like Flounder Heights, Clan Blitz. Do you like Flounder Heights, Clan Blitz, Troy?
Yeah, I think that's a really good one, and it'll be. It seems like I saw on the team of Bilowy, Barber, they had a carbon and brush player, and they'll be really good on Flounder over here with clams, because they'll be able to go around wherever they want with all the paintable walls. It'll be really good for them.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like we are getting into the game right now. So we will be seeing actually a fairly short range comp happening against the team against Bilowy Bubble, which does have the ballpoint. However, but having like Ferrari on the as their basically inkjet weapon on the Tri-Sword, I reckon is a fantastic choice, especially here when you've got all those ledges, all those walls to really play off. It does look like they are attempting to control the top mid area here. Those fizzy bombs coming out just to try and apply some pressure here. But I do think with two players going down, it does look like Bilowy Barber is finding an opportunity to push back up. But two players go down on the side of Bilowy Barber here. So this might be a chance for Obsequious Omnivores to make something of a headway. It's still a fairly neutral game, and three players have gone down on Obsequious Omnivores, but I reckon Bilowy Barber might be able to make a play off of this trade.
Yeah, they're trying to go off of that triple on Omnivores, but they couldn't really do that, and the try stops them really. And now there's 3 down on Bilowy Barber, and just the knot left, and they get camped. And so now Obsequious Omnivores has control of the map. They have that cooler. They're ready to get back in. And somebody does trade with the brush, which is a good trade, because they were able to keep them back without getting more than one of them dying, even though they were jumped. And they pick up another and have complete control of the top mid, and just need the clans to push up really, and a little bit more paint, Lily.
Yeah, we do see them getting answered by that machine there, and also following up on top of that Booyah bomb as well. So it doesn't look like they'll be making much of a play off of that. They do have the power clam though, but they might just be struggling just a little bit at this moment to be able to make a comeback. We haven't seen a significant push just yet, with both teams really trying to find their opening here. Droid does look like, however, I do think that with the amount of clams that Omnivores have been able to pick up here, they might be able to make something work off of this.
Yeah, and they just picked off the try, which will stop them from being sharked and like get a pick on them. And the brush is trying to stop the one player from going all the way to the basket, and somehow they're still alive. They pick off a couple, and it's just the brush left. So they're definitely, if they have enough clams here, they can get a push off of that. And there's a super clam from the blaster, and they just have to fight that brush and come in, and they get another pick, which is very valuable, so their team can get a few more with that ledge. But they don't have any more clams. There were not clams available. So then it's just a couple of trades, and they're going back and forth, trying to keep them back while there's just a few clams that they can use at all, Lily.
Yeah, the NZAP only had the last 2 clams they could possibly have put into the basket, getting that score down to 62. Not the biggest push of all time, but that has been 3 minutes of gameplay we've pretty much seen so far, and having that score might make or break whether they win or lose. I have to say, as we've seen in previous Blitz games, Weef on the Inkjet here trying to clear out that area as well, trying to stop them from being able to push in even further. Two players that have gone down on Omnivores, and Bilowy Barber is definitely trying to find a way back into the top mid area. Constantly, I think, getting pushed off by the Omnivores as they get picked off as well.
Yeah, Omnivores is holding that mid really well and keeping them back. Getting just the one pick at a time is keeping Bilowy Barber from getting anywhere past the mid, and that Booyah Bomb's not helping the Barber at all. But there is 3 down on Omnivores now, and they can get control of mid if they just have the clams and the pressure. They just need to get this player all the way back, wait for the cooler. They are ready. They take down the end zap, but 3 go down on Bilowy Barber from maybe that might have been a bomb or the inkjet. That was a really good triple there.
Yeah, they were getting into some tough spots there, and I did see that, like, when you have that chicken thrown up into that corner on top of the ramp is definitely a tricky thing. We see the wipeout happening. Bilowy Barber is all the way down, and Obsequious Omnivores just finding the clams they need. They know that they want to push in these last 40 seconds. They want to make sure they can get this lead even safer than they have, but they're in a very good spot here. They've set up around the top of the ramp. They have their Booyah Bomb in. They're going to be supporting the rest of their team from to be able to really make a play here. Getting that power climb in, they have the bubble. Everything's going to be going really well. It is going swimmingly for Omnivores at the moment in these last 20 seconds, but Bilowy Barber, they are trying desperately to try and come back from this, getting a great pick on Weef with 3 players going down on Omnivores. They might be able to take something to overtime, and they are starting to push back up, but they have to get their first push of the game in here, and it doesn't look like they have the pity clam to do that, unfortunately, which means that they won't be taking that game into overtime.
Yeah, they barely didn't get the pity clam there. The timer was right next to going down, and they didn't have that opportunity because the other one was not still there from earlier. And that was just very unfortunate. There weren't enough clams available for them to make a super clam at the end to try one last time.
Yeah, so Omnivore does manage to take that first game. We are seeing, we did see like a fairly stally first few minutes of this game, I have to say, but like once they started getting their footing, once they started being able to position exactly where they wanted to, definitely managed to not just get one pretty good push in, but a second fantastic push all the way down to 22 with the help of the Booyah Bombs as well. Definitely difficult for Bilowy Barber to try and push back from anyway, even if they did manage to get the wipeout in the last few seconds.
Yeah, they barely were able to. They got that second push, which really just completely secured that win afterwards. And they had control of the mid, so there wasn't really. And they didn't even have the clams, so they kept throwing in the clams slow enough to where the pity would not appear in time, and that must have been planned out because that was very good timing for them.
Yeah, it was a very, very well timed push. Bilowy Barber definitely has to be thinking about Omnivore's gameplay here and try to find some kind of answer to what they have been running in the next match. Now we will be going to zones on Sturgeon's shipyard. Now this is another one which has quite a lot of high ground area that can be very, very powerful once you start capping the zone. Droid, what do you think of this map mode?
Sturgeon zones will be very good for the Tri-Slosher. Like it might be a bit of a weird one, but I feel like that one always just moves around really well on that. So that will be, I feel like they'll be able to take advantage of that. And the inkjets are always really good, and the ballpoint will be able to hold the spinner really well there. And we might see that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco coming out from Bilowy Barber to counter the inkjets on this map. Since it's not clams, they can actually use it a little bit better maybe here.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the amount of range you get off that particular blaster, it can definitely be something that can pressure the spinner, overlooking the other team's court as well, just to have that pressure going. Does look like actually we're seeing a double splash comp. This isn't something we've seen for a long time, Droid.
Yeah, the double splash returns every now and then. We see it again. It's like a reminder of how meta used to be like for like 8 months straight, and it's nice to see it again. It's not as annoying as it used to be, and there's instantly 2 down on Bilowy Barber because that blaster got really good shots on them. And it's 3 down, and they have control of the mid. They got the zone really fast and are just ready. The brush is just waiting for the teammates, having to paint, just waiting for an opportune moment, Lily.
Yeah, I gotta say we are seeing a great position from the Inkjet as well, just overlooking the court and trying to get some picks, but unfortunately they do go down there. I have to say, however, they do have a crab tank online. If they can get into position just on top of the spinner or somewhere where they aren't easily contested, they can definitely make a big play off of that. Unfortunately, they do go down. However, 2 players have got, both buckets have gone down on the side of Obsequious Omnivores, but they're still holding this zone. Bilowy Barber definitely has to try and come back off of this, and it's difficult for them. It is difficult for them trying to have to deal with these bombs and this chip damage coming up from the wave breaker. I do think in the last few seconds of Obsequious Omnivores might be able to actually hold this just for long enough to take the game, but it looks like the zone gets neutralized, and unfortunately for Bilowy Barber, Omnivore manages to take the zone at the very end. We can see just looking at that end screen here that Obsequious Omnivores didn't even need to move back much at all, and were constantly applying pressure over Bilowy Barber's court, over their spinners, over any time that they wanted to try and break out. Omnivore was right there to stop them.
Those bombs and chip damage really kept Bilowy Barber from going anywhere at all. Like the Octobrush couldn't go anywhere because there was not enough paint for them and they were left behind. And yeah, it didn't really work out. And the machine and range were able to combo off of each other a couple times and just be able to push up really far. And the bomb placements were just ready at the end there. That bomb on top of the snipe really stopped the NZAP from going anywhere with it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Do want to mention very quickly that there was recently a giveaway from the Off the Dial shop. You can go there and check that out. Also, definitely something worth checking out as well. If you want to support Off the Dial, they have some really cool, fantastic, fun merch as well. There is an announcement in chat as well. So if you go to shop.otd.inc/redeem, you can it does look like Kaiser Sukapu actually won the gift of a non-sticker bundle, so congrats for winning that giveaway. But also definitely a fantastic way to support Off the Dial as well, and to get some really cool, fun, good looking merch as well that I really like very much. We will actually just wanted to mention that just briefly, but we are actually going to be going soon into the final map mode for this set, which is Manta Maria Rainmaker. Now, Troy, we saw Manta Maria previously. I find that Rainmaker here can definitely, like, if you have your first push to that first checkpoint, I do find that it can be a very, very quick push to the final checkpoint. But what's your experiences here?
I feel like it's always kind of a stall sometimes, actually, after the first checkpoint, unless they keep getting the picks, because it's actually a pretty good defensive spot for some kinds of weapons, like with fall off or AoE and stuff. So, and with the machine, that'll definitely be useful for them to hold down right behind the checkpoint, so they can't really get past that unless they go around or go above.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be seeing actually an ink brush coming out from the side of Omnivores, as well as an Octobrush on the side of Bilowy Barber. These could be some very good weapons, I believe, to try and clear out certain areas, to be able to make sure that it's very difficult for the other team to try and contest where each team really wants to be taking it. No one has picked up the Rainmaker just yet. 2 players have gone down on the side of Obsequious Omnivores, and Bilowy Barber is really trying to take control of mid here. We've getting a great pick on Ferrari with the Inkjet, and the Inkjet looking around for another pick over here on the left-hand side. It does look like 2 players have gone down on Omnivores, so this could be where Bilowy Barber picks up the Rainmaker droid.
Yeah, they're able to get that checkpoint, it seems, without the machine being able to contest because there's just too many bombs coming in from that Octa Rush. But they do go down, and that's 3 down on Bilowy Barber, so they don't seem to be able to get past that checkpoint at all. So Omnivores is going to just be taking control of the mid, and the Ink Rush is just trying to hold a spot, trying to shark in different places. They go for the right checkpoint, which is actually pretty smart because nobody really expects that very often. So they got that in the bag, got that. Seems that they'll be able to get that lead, get it all the way down to at least 40 here. And the Booyah Bomb coming out. And that's 3 down on Bilowy Barber, and that's the game, and that's KO for Omnivores. That was a very fast. You were definitely right about that.
Yeah. It's one of those games where if you manage to take it around to the right checkpoint and just happen to have the support from the rest of your team, you can just run that in a straight line all the way to the very end, which we saw them do there. And congrats also to the teams Obsequious Omnivore and also Bilowy Barber. It does look like Omnivore will be going into, I believe Omnivore will be the one that will be going into top cut, considering that 4-way tie that we mentioned earlier between Obsequious Omnivore, Grandiose Grandchild, Cowardly Cobweb, and Bilowy Barber.
Yeah, that last 3-0 will definitely get them to the top cut for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we will be passing it over to our analysts who will be discussing in detail these matches for sure. This has been a very good, amazing set, I gotta say. To be commentating with you, Droid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Droid, by the way, before we head off, where can we find you on the internet?
I can be found on Twitter and YouTube at SplatDroid, exactly how it's spelled on the screen right there. Yeah. Where can we find you, Lily?
And I'm a streamer as well. I stream mainly on Twitch, and I'm around on Twitter as well. You can follow me both places at Lily Gravy Bread. That is Lili Gravy Bread, all one word. I stream from time to time as well, so it'd be great to see you there too. Anyway, Droid, that's going to be it from us. We'll be passing it over to our analysts Kirby and Rice soon, but we'll be seeing you around. And also to the viewers watching, stick around because there is much more to come for the rest of this It's Dangerous to Go Alone.
Welcome back, everyone. If you guys haven't been around, we are the Analysis, so we're here to just talk about the games that just happened. I'm Kirby, and my partner is Rice.
Yeah, hello. We had a really this set determined who made it to top cut out of these 2 teams, and clearly, Omnivores showed that they really wanted to make that top cut. Taking all 3 games in this set. We go into our first game, which is Flounder Clemblitz, and we see that surprisingly in Splatoon there is only 1 shooter on this whole map.
Yes, there were a lot of buckets. A lot of some blasters around too. Like no shooters. Like no one wanted to play shooters today.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm sure this was mainly a map pick because we all know sloshers thrive on ledges and places with a lot of elevation. Same thing with the Octobrush. I think Octobrush was definitely one of the biggest players for Bilo uh the Barber team. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like that Octobrush was playing some really good defense, and right here they were able to stay alive for quite a long time while their teammates, all three of their teammates, were respawning in, and it was very cool to notice that like yeah they were able to stay alive and for a majority of it.
Yeah, but we do see that Omnivores did get that first push, and they're not letting up aggression. Although they don't have this backline, they have 3 bombs to throw around to just try to hold back the side of the Barber team, while on the side of the Barber on the side of the BB team, they had Inkjet, they had Zipcaster, they had a lot of specials also to play off of. So that's why I just feel like this game was in neutral for a lot of this, most of the game.
Yeah, those bombs, especially in all 3 of the matches, were just being a big pain for Bilowy Barber. Like they were just everywhere. They could not catch a break from seeing a bomb right where, like everywhere. There was just a bomb.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that. Even like, although backline is great on, I think Flounder, that's a different story. But as we do move on to this next game, we actually see 0 shooters on the side of Omnivores, and the Barbers bringing out the double splash.
That brought some flashbacks. Lots. All those splashes. That was something I have not seen in a little while.
Yeah, but even though the Barber team had double splash, it's actually Omnivores who took this game, and I think for the reason is because they played extremely aggressive really early. They knew they could not outpaint the other team, so they just made sure the other team just couldn't even touch the zone.
Yeah, and there were bombs and like chip damage everywhere. Wave breaker, somebody wanted to get in, nah, there's a bomb in the way. Like there's everywhere they looked, once again, there was a bomb.
Yeah, but moving on to this next game, Rainmaker on Manta Maria. This time actually, Barbers got the first push in actually, and they went in on a very good advantage state, but unable to really push past that first checkpoint. While on the side of Omnivores, once they took that first checkpoint, they kept that pressure up and just kept running it.
Yeah, and it was very like interesting to see them take the right side checkpoint. It's yeah, as the commentator said, it's not very often you see that.
Yeah, right side checkpoint is very dangerous, and I think we're just seeing a little more replays from that first game. The first game was definitely the most back and forth, and we could just see that the Omnivores really, again, as I said earlier, they wanted to make that top cut. They did not want to go home after that set.
Yes, and I don't know if the commentator said this, but they both the teams were fighting to get into top cut. There was a 4-way tie, I believe, to get into some of the top cut places, and yeah, Omnivore really wanted it so badly they decided to take the whole set.
Yeah. All right. There's not too much left of this set to talk about, but let's talk about what this tournament is. What is IDTGA? It stands for It's Dangerous to Go Alone. It is a free agent tournament for all skill levels. Anyone can register for the tournament, and you sign up alone. This is a solo tournament.
Yes, I remember getting into the competitive Splatoon community through this tournament, and I'm very glad it's very open to like all skill levels, from the lowest of ranks to the highest of ranks. It's open to just about everyone.
Yeah, even if you're not S rank or X rank, there are brackets for lower level players. We are looking at power bracket, but they do have courage bracket and wisdom bracket, which are for lower skill level players. So it's very open to anyone who's interested in getting into competitive or just want to learn a little more and improve at this game.
Yeah, and learning to talk to other teammates that you've never spoken to before. Good to get to know people and a little bit of like how the competitive side works.
Yeah, and moving further, like, what if I do sign up for It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Kirby? How did they balance the teams?
Wow, great you ask, because I did help with balancing the teams. So a lot of the teams are done through a lot of your solo ranks, and then as well as your competitive experience, play styles, how often you've played in this tournament, and then a little bit of your time zones as well, making sure you're not paired with somebody from each of the different continents. But a lot of it's going into rank and your experience, and as well as your playstyle, to make sure we're not getting 4 E leaders on the same team, and not like having an X rank with a C plus with a S. It's all balanced teams, just like how we split it into different brackets as well. And so making sure like almost every game is like can go anyway. It's not usually not usually geared towards one team.
Yeah, for sure. I know I played this tournament once before, and I've had a great experience just working with new people and like getting to know like other people from the competitive scene. Like back then, I know I was really new to competitive Splatoon, and this tournament gave me a lot of experiences that I took into the future in my competitive career.
Yes. As well, yeah, we talked. All right. Rice, do you have anywhere we can find you?
They can find me at We Like Rice. It's on the screen right now. It's all one word. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch with that handle. And how about you, Kirby? Where can the fine people find you?
I'm mostly just around on Discord. My tag is actually 52 Kirby's. You can find me around there, lurking around in some Splatoon competitive servers.
And that'll be it for us for a little bit for right now. But we will be transitioning to Top Cut as we are starting the seeding process. And don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Welcome back, everybody. We are ready to start the top cut here. It's Dangerous to Go Alone, season 39. I am Tao Panda, and joining me is Gilgamesh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's Dangerous to Go Alone. It looks like we're about to start our match very quickly. The match is between Defiant, Discharge, and Mysterious Material. The first match would be Inkward Academy at... Oh, I couldn't quite see the match there, but it looks like we're going to start up really quickly. What do you think? I don't think I was here for the first couple of matches, but do you have any ideas of what these two teams could possibly do?
Well, I have seen a couple of the players from each team a few times here at It's Dangerous to Go Alone and a few other events. Cactus, for example, on Defiant Discharge, great with the shooters, and also Sovlis. Sorry, I never know how to say the name.
You're
But
fine.
Mysterious Material also has Marks, I think Ship as well. Marks might go backline, but could also switch to a shooter, so we might be seeing a full shooter comp on both teams, and that would be pretty exciting. So it could really go any way here.
As we get into it. Tower control. The mode is tower control. My apologies.
Looks like we see backliner on both sides, both teams, bringing out the E-leader. Forgot to mention, Lexi is a force to be reckoned with. I almost said mentioned with on the E-leader.
Looks like immediate. Oh.
Very early crab here on Mysterious Material, trying to see what they can do, maybe get some damage on players that are on Discharge's plat. No picks yet. We saw, I think, another... Oh, as soon as I say that, of course, Marks finds one.
Looks like one person for each team got splatted, but it still looks like a contest for mid as both sides are trying to find that small bit of advantage as one person goes down on Mysterious Material's side. It looks like still one off on each side as Dissonant Discharge takes the tower for the first point of the game. It looks like they're able to hold on to it for a little bit.
Yep, they're on checkpoint 1 now. They were able to pull out a wave breaker. I think we saw a Zuka from Discharge, and they're past the first checkpoint. Coming up quick on second checkpoint, a Booyah Bomb comes out. They used the Tacticooler, but they were able to get pushed back. Or I should say that Mysterious Material was able to push them back. So
Correct,
they weren't quite able to get to that second check yet.
We're currently in a 2-3 advantage to Material as Dissonant Discharge takes the tower. If they can stay onto it, they can keep that lead. But it looks like Mysterious Material is coming back as they go right back to neutral.
Yes, and here we see this T-Tech looks like the Splash trying to find some picks, but got a trade. Not too much is gonna come out of it. And again, we find another player goes on each team, but Mysterious Material is on the tower now. The Slosher is guarding the drop. The ramp is a great place for the Slosher to be, but they did lose the tower.
Yeah, but Mysterious Material is down 2 people as we're back into mid. We're...
Oh! That poor crab! What? That was amazing.
That allows them to take the tower. As long as they can keep it up. Ooh! A complete
First
wipe
of the game.
as Dissonant Discharge takes the advantage and gets on the tower. They are currently pushing their lead even more.
And they have 3 specials online. Looks like they used the wave breaker. The Booyah is getting thrown out.
They currently
Zuko can find a couple picks maybe.
Dissonant Discharge passing through checkpoint 2, keeping the lead and keeping advantage as much as they possibly can. Oh, they lose one up. They lose the ends out. Hopefully, it's 2 down with Mysterious Material. If hopefully Marks with the charger can keep up, he goes back.
Yeah, the jump out pretty smooth after getting that nice pick. It doesn't seem to be slowing down Discharge too much. They left a nice little mine as a present on the tower, trying to retreat, make sure they don't get wiped.
As it's currently 3-2, advantage Dissonant Discharge, as the Mysterious Material is trying to make sure that they don't push into for game, actually.
At this point, they
Right.
right on the 3rd checkpoint.
They have 1 minute left as it's 24-90, advantage to Dissonant Discharge. All they have to do is hold off for that last minute for them to win the first round of the semifinals.
Yeah. So, Discharge here, they might not push the tower anymore. 24 is a great score, but you never know. I've seen teams push again in the last 10 seconds if they had the opening for it. But hopefully Mysterious Material kind of gets I want to see like a little more teamwork, like following up on the specials. And here we see the Tri-Strikes, Wavebreaker on the tower, Marks is here to guard the plat. This is exactly what I wanted to see.
And this might be what they need as they push 15 seconds on the clock for them to go and hopefully take this back, as you see a crab splat on the Mysterious Material sides right back at them. It is now 2-1. Hopefully, maybe there might be a way to come back as it's game.
Material lost to 3 players right at the end, but that was an excellent coming together. So here in the semifinals, with that being the first match, I feel like maybe we're gonna see a little bit of a different second game. What do you think?
Maybe. I think both teams played pretty well. It was back and forth. Definitely, Defiant Discharge had a lot of aggressiveness going into the start of the match. It looked like Mysterious Material was grabbing on. It looks like Mysterious Material was coming back towards the last bit of it. It looks like they finally found their footing, but it just wasn't enough for the first match. Hopefully, we could see that momentum in the second one, and we'll have a good game for the second match.
Yes, I love this highlight of Marks finding that quick snipe. But
As
this,
you can see,
there's a lot of map control happening here for Defiant Discharge.
Yeah, no, the middle is practically all of Defiant Discharge's territory. As you can see, a very strong start in the beginning, 69 points. It looks like one of the Mysterious members were trying to flank to maybe grab an advantage, but that was shut down, as well as
Our second game is going to be Clan Blitz on Museum d'Alfonsino. This is one of my favorite map mode combos.
Really? Why so?
I love Clan Blitz on this map because you can come from the ramp, you could come from the little box by the basket, you can guard their spinner, not easily, but with enough teamwork and ink coverage, you could take the enemy base's spinner, you can guard their overhang on the side. I don't know, I just like it because you can move around, there's a change of elevation, it's got all of the things you need for a great game.
A lot of movement and a lot of choices for how you want to take this map, I say.
And so, maybe we'll see again, both teams keep the E-leader. It's a great E-leader map.
It looks like about the same comp as last round.
So does Marks. Okay, let's go. Slight changes to the comps, but pretty much the same. There's no crab.
As both teams try to fight for clams, looks like it's pretty even on that regard. As we see, our first down of the match ends up.
Yeah, something I noticed with the first game is the Slosher really does a good job at finding the proper angles for their weapon to find quick picks. But I believe it's Defiant Discharge. They do a great job at kind of inking the Slosher out of position, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a give or take situation for the Slosher on Mysterious Material.
Speaking of Mysterious Material, oh, I was going to say there was a slight advantage on Mysterious Material in order of clams, but Defiant Discharge immediately take it right back. It's still anybody's game. No one has won any points yet. It's currently 3-4 advantage to Distant Discharge's side, as Mysterious Material actually grabs a clam.
Yeah, they had juice, they had a power clam, and looked like they took a player down from Discharge, but they weren't really able to follow up, and that Booyah Bomb might have had something to do with it from Discharge. It kind of left Mysterious Material on the back foot, trying to move around that Booyah spread.
An immediate flipping advantage towards Defiant Discharge's side, as they have 2 clams on their side, 20 points in total, but it really is just a matter of who can get that clam in first. Nobody's down on either side. It's anybody's game. Oh, I lied.
That was
Clean
beautiful.
charger hit.
This might be the opportunity that Mysterious Material needed. I think both teams have active Tacticooler right now.
Ooh,
But
as there are
Material
2-4 advantage.
losing 2 players. A little bit of hesitation here from Discharge. Both teams are down a player. Yeah, I think Material is trying to make sure that they don't let what happened last time happen again. The ink coverage is much more even in this game so far.
Yeah, they look much more confident during this match than the last one, as they're still in neutral-ish state. It looks like Mysterious Material is at an advantage in terms of clams, but same thing as last time. Actually, Mysterious Material getting the first score of the game, as they continue their push up down to 65.
Yeah,
Can they
they
get down
don't
to
have.
more?
Oh, they collected a few clams, not in time to continue getting points, but this bazooka, this ink bazooka rather, might be able to find a quick pick. No, Lexi is not having it. And Inkzuka from Discharge, and the Tacticooler is thrown down in mid. It looks like Mysterious Mats might be trying to keep their area covered in their ink here. They kind of, for a second there, it looked like they were losing their footing, but they are on their plat actually. They somehow turned the momentum around, and now Materials are making a push.
That's correct. Hopefully they can keep that advantage in, as they have 2 clams, I believe, on their side. I stand corrected. As they're as Defiant Discharge, I believe, stopped that push, or at least they're currently still trying to. I still see a clam on the field.
Yeah, and I think this is Yuma on the Slosher. I'm not sure. Finds a pick. Both zaps on both teams are down.
It's too even.
Wow, and just like that, Marks is left alone. He retreats back to the plat, trying to see what he can do to stop this push from Discharge.
There's about 30 seconds on the clock. Defiant Discharge has to make a push in the next half minute for them to be able to take game 2.
Yeah, I think the issue here is they don't have a power clam. I stand corrected.
Well, they need to use that power clam to score if they want to secure this. But it looks like it's taking them a little bit of time to try and get an advantage.
Looks like one of their players did find their way onto the plat.
It's currently a 3-1 scenario.
Mysterious Material, the one player standing, but everyone has respawned at this point.
As they
Wow.
take the lead last second during overtime.
That was amazing. The wonders of Clan Blitz.
Honestly,
That
it
was
was.
very impressive.
It really was. It was a nail biter to the very end. They were just able to take that second game.
I think it shows a lot of maybe mental fortitude on the side of Discharge to be able to keep their composure. They knew how much time they had left. They made their power clam, I think, with only 15 seconds left on the clock to get the overtime activated. And here we see a nice pick, and I believe this shot also went up on the plat. They might have gotten picked, but I think it gave them the perfect window for their teammates to follow up.
I agree. As you can see, both teams were tooth and nail trying to find who could be able to get the clam in the goal first. Both mysterious material definitely getting their confidence back in this round because they were a lot stronger in this one. Definitely knew what they were doing, but Defiant Discharge just barely able to squeeze out a second game win.
In our third game, possibly the decision maker game, is going to be Zones on Hagglefish. How do you feel about this map mode, Gilgamesh?
This is a new map mode, isn't it? I don't think I've seen this one. So honestly, for me, whatever happens here is completely new to me. It looks like a pretty open map, so the charges that we are currently seeing seems to be a bit strong. So I guess we'll just have to see and find out.
Yeah, zones on this map, believe it or not one of my favorite map mode combos. But you are absolutely right, it is a great charger map. So maybe we'll see Lexi and Marks on those E-leaders, keeping up the pressure. But the thing with this map is the zone's right square in the middle, both sides are blocked off by walls, and there's two lanes on the side that drop down, and so sometimes you see players taking it, getting a surprise flank on the opposing team. Sometimes you see that it doesn't work out, and a whole team might get routed down in the pits on the side.
We shall see how things turn out as we start with Game 3. Charger doing Charger things as Lexi is trying to keep the middle as safe as possible, but Mysterious Material gaining the lead immediately with a 90 to 100 lead. The Crab has already come out, and an immediate switch of a control with Defiant Discharge, trying to gain back that lead.
It's so interesting to see that Marks and Lexi are both just dropped here in the middle behind this little drop in the zone, just waiting and watching for someone to make a mistake. Both teams are losing players, it seems like, back to back, except now at least Discharge just got a pretty good advantage. The last player jumped out from Discharge.
For a minute, it seemed that it was Mysterious Material's advantage as they regained control of the center. Ooh, wonderful snipe by the Charger.
Mark's bringing the heat. Wow, that Booyah took out two players. Crab trying to paint zone, maybe get some damage on the enemy.
Defiant Discharge trying to bring out all the specials and try and regain that control, which they do. They have a penalty, so they can't quite lose. As they regain control, they need to get rid of that penalty so they can go ahead and regain that lead. It looks like they need about 17 seconds worth of time, and they're going to make work of it. They're going to try their best to do so. It's 3v3 currently.
Yeah, and Lexi's feeling the effects of the cooler, get that buff, in and out of the zone, tap dancing right on the edge, trying to keep the pressure up. But Material is not having it. They're down two players right now, but they are putting up a very strong fight. They keep switching the zone back, but it looks like Discharge will finally start getting points back.
This is just like the last game. It's just a nail biter to see who takes the lead in the end, right? Both sides are going back and forth. We have no idea who's going to win until the very end.
Yes. Except Lexi's in a bit of a pinch here. There's that crab. I think it might have left her as the last one standing.
It looks like the Defiant Discharge is solidifying their lead, making sure that. Oh, as I was going to say, as they choke up to prevent Material from regaining that point, it looks like that works, and that's game. A
It
quick
is.
3-0 point to Defiant Discharge.
Yeah, that was a great effort from Mysterious Material. I still can't believe how many times they flipped the zone.
Oh yeah, no, it was anybody's game up until the very end. I think both teams definitely showed that they knew what they were doing. It just so happens that Defiant Discharge was able to clutch it out in the end.
Yes, and we shouldn't forget that I believe Defiant Discharge is coming from a 4-0 run in the prelims as well.
Really?
Yes, so they are living up to that. And they're taking this at 3-0. Unlike the prelims, this is a best of 5, so they will be moving on to the Grand
Finals?
Oh yes. And we will be having our analysts come back on and give us a run through of these amazing matches that we just watched.
Hello and welcome back to the analyst desk. I'm Rice and my co-analyst here is gonna be Kirby, and we're gonna be getting into the set of what were the teams again? Defiant Discharge versus Mysterious Material. Defiant Discharge taking a 3-0 set over Mysterious Material, and let's get into some of these matches.
Yeah, so we noticed that all three games, it was very close at the beginning. Slow starts, and it could really go any way for both teams. I was like, I wonder which way is this gonna go this time. Like, I had no clue who was gonna win.
Yeah, I can say with both sides having an E-leader on their team, it's gonna be a very patient and slow-paced game until the E-leaders or someone gets a pick and the teams can start moving up. The key here is just patience on both sides, and I think the Defiant Discharge understood that a lot by just waiting for an advantage state to really start pushing up.
Yes, a lot of the times when they realized they had the numbers advantage or they had those specials that they could push up with, or even those quick small picks, those are definitely helping them getting into that first push and then starting the game getting the game to roll forward.
Yeah, we can see here on Inkblot TC, it was very neutral here. No one really took that first checkpoint or went past that first checkpoint until this wipeout from Defiant Discharge. And once they did get that wipeout, they didn't really stop the pressure here. Even though Mysterious Material was able to slow down the tower push, the players of Defiant Discharge just kept rotating around, kept up this pressure on plat, and didn't really give up any of their space.
Oh yeah, they just kept going, making sure they were definitely gonna. Making sure they took every chance to get farthest push they can get, just so they could win the match.
Yeah, but on to our next match, we have Clan Blitz on Museum, and this game again similar to that first one, it's very slow, very patient. Both teams knowing that they can't just run in because there's a E leader staring at them.
Yes, and the same thing, very slow start, waiting for that, playing the very same game patiently, making sure they trying to get that advantage that they need and making the push when they want. And yes, that clean, very clean snipe.
Man, I don't think I would want to be on either side just looking down an E leader. Personally, I hate playing against them.
It was also fun to watch on both teams having E leaders. Like there was constant picks and snipes here and there.
Definitely, but we do see that this time Mysterious Material did get that first push in. They did get a lead to 65, but honestly, on Clan Blitz, that might win you the game, but that might also not be enough. And we see here, they try to get a second push in, but are just shut down really easily.
Yeah. It was a good attempt on them.
Yeah, for sure. They knew they needed to make at least a second attempt at a push, but we see here just the defense on Defiant Discharge very strong, knowing that they need to again take it slow. They had an advantage here and they knew this is their chance to start scoring, and I believe they do just keep scoring clams until they win the match.
Something I also noticed was the slosher on Mysterious Material was often definitely getting those picks off at their range, using the curving ability that they have, and just being pretty scary every time I saw them on the screen, wondering, is that pick gonna happen?
Yeah, sloshers have some very nice angles pretty much on all of these maps that we've been on. They did bring out the tri-slosher on Hagglefish zones, and I'm sure they did that for the extra fizzy bomb and also that the tactic cooler to help their team move up.
Yes, and we're seeing a lot of crabs being shot at from chargers, and chargers making sure like they can get those picks off those crabs and just shredding them.
Yeah, definitely. Chargers are quite dangerous. If your crab tank is not positioned properly, that charger is gonna get a headshot on you. And I think there definitely was one in this game. We might not get to it yet, but just being, I think here it was very back and forth until that last minute or so for Mysterious Material, and they did a really good job of just making sure they played a little slower, but Defiant Discharge being able to take advantages much faster. Okay.
All right, and that's it. And that's it from us. We'll be moving on to I believe it's the finals. And we'll be back. We'll pass it back to our commentators.
Welcome, everybody. We are entering the grand finals here. The top cut. It's Dangerous to Go Alone season 39. Are you excited, Gilga?
Oh, I'm more than excited. So many people, so many teams have fought their way to get to this final moment, right? We have Defiant Discharge versus Obsequious Omnivore. 5 rounds determine who is our is it season 39? Season 39, It's Dangerous to Go Alone champion.
Yes, and I'm super excited for this because we just watched Defiant Discharge. They have had a clean sweep so far in this tournament. But Obsequious Omnivores, on the other hand, I think they had a rough start. They lost the first round in prelims, but they have gotten back-to-back wins ever since.
It
So
sounds like
they'll be the ones to take down Defiant Discharge.
we will see sooner or later. It sounds like Obsequious Omnivore is the underdog in this scenario. Can they turn the tides, or will Defiant Discharge show how defiant they really are?
Oh. So again, Discharge, as we've seen, they've got shooters. They also have Lexi, who's been pulling out the E-leader the past few games. But the Omnivores, I only saw a little bit of their gameplay earlier, but I do believe they have a Tri-Slosher. It's pretty strong, as well as a Blaster, and of course Centricide, kind of a jack of all trades with the snipers, ballpoint, anything really.
Just as a quick reminder, Defiant Discharge has not lost a game this entire competition. They are definitely the team to beat in this finals competition.
So exciting. And our first map mode will be Clan Blitz on Humpback Pump Track.
This is a map that they brought back for the season as well. Humpback Pump Track is, going to be honest, one of my favorite maps. I like the look of it. I kind of like the I like the look of it. I'm going to be honest with you. Clan Blitz is going to be I want to say it's going to be a bit weird with how we've seen Defiant Discharge play. I can definitely see a very aggressive play trying to get towards the tower, but once again, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out. The last match was very tooth and nail, very last minute, if I can say that. So how this match will go is anybody's guess.
Yes, and we saw that the Omnivores, they have a couple of slosher players on their team, and this is a slosher-friendly map. So maybe Discharge will have a little bit of a hard time on this, specifically because it is Clan Blitz. It seemed like, as far as keeping their map control, they weren't quite as strong during the Clan Blitz game as they were during the other two. So we'll see. It's going to be pretty interesting. Have you played a lot on this map, Gilga?
I played a lot on 2. Like I said, I really do like the map. I think me playing Charger, I just kind of like sitting in the center, which is probably dangerous, but also still really fun to do.
Yeah, because if a team can get their Charger to be in mid, then you pretty much have like a full reach into all of the enemy's area. So maybe we'll see that from Discharge at least.
Just a quick reminder for anybody who has tuned in. First of all, you've missed a wonderful set of gameplay from all of our competitors, but this is It's Dangerous to Go Alone, our solo free agent tournament for all skill levels. Anybody can register. You can enter solo, and you can end up being one of the individuals in finals if you so choose. If you can get through our Swiss and our semifinals.
Yes, and something that we don't mention that much is there are different brackets. We usually watch the power bracket. We calculate an ELO for every player based off of how many times they've played in this tournament, their previous competitive experience, their previous win count, and their games and sets. And players get pre-placed into teams, into brackets, and then they play. And, you know, you could be in Courage bracket, Wisdom bracket, or Power bracket. And, yeah. We take all skill levels here. It's a
No.
wonderful place. Wonderful people.
I did forget that was I forgot there was a Splatfest today.
Yes. I forgot to see if maybe a couple of our players have had their Splatfest teas by accident. Oh, yes, we are receiving word that at least 3 players have forgotten their Splatfest teas. This is a PSA. Don't forget your teas.
If you forgot your teas, please go to the center area of the city to grab your teas. These are
Yes.
limited time only for how long is this Splatfest? It's like a day or
ends
two.
tomorrow.
Under 24 hours. Might ask, which team did you pick?
I picked Team Love.
See, I chose money. Money's the gold one. You always have to go for the gold one. It is the best color.
Oh, you're a color chooser, I see.
I mean, it's random anyway. I gotta go for the best color.
This is one of my favorite color combinations of Splatfest.
It really is, honestly.
Yeah, I've played quite a bit, and so far I have enjoyed the visuals every game. The pink and the gold, the pink and the green, and then, you know, at the end of every match it's all pink, of course, you know.
I know the what is it? The choices have gotten a bit more neutral, I'll say. I know for me, when we had the chocolate one, I definitely chose dark chocolate all the way. But I think there was an overwhelming amount of people who chose one over the other. I can't remember which one though. Was it right chocolate? Okay. It looks like we're about to get ready for our match, so just give us a quick second to start that up.
And I will visualize again this E-leader in the middle of the map. Is what I want to see here. Just running the show.
Taking no prisoners.
That's
As we
right.
start in Clan Blitz, first match of the grand finals.
My dreams are crushed. No E-leader.
No E-leader.
You can go home. Now, Lexi on a ballpoint is just as scary, just as deadly. And now, starting off, it's a pretty interesting spread from Discharge, and they have lost 2 players already. Ferrari on the Tri-Slosher, finding as many picks as possible. And I think we have Cactus here on the N-Zap. They've already used Tacticooler.
It looks like it is a 4-1 advantage on which one's yellow? Defiant Discharge aside as they slowly try and gain advantage. Lexi
Unlike
with that
last
ball
match-
point.
Yes, Lexi has found her way into mid, and unlike last match, Discharge decided that they can break the basket very quickly within the first minute. They just proved that they can.
A blessing and a curse as they gain the lead, but they get that penalty. If the Omnivores can go and take advantage, it might be just a little bit harder for them to regain that advantage.
And here we have Toes using the coverage from his teammates Inkjet to break the basket. They've taken the lead with just a couple of clams so far. But the Omnivores look like they're trying to keep the space for a couple more clams, but they are not able to.
This just shows how even this match is. It's anybody's game at the current moment as it goes back to neutral. Neither team has barely any clams on their name as the Inkjet comes out by Lexi as she splats one
Stand by
person.
for 2? No. Yeah. But Cactus with a great follow-up here. Discharge really showing us that they can keep up the aggression from the first minute of this game. But 2 players are down for the Omnivores. Make that 3.
As it is a advantage on Discharge's side, they need to go and push up in order for them to regain that advantage. If Inkjet gets brought out for a second time, that's really quick.
It is, and they were able to get the Tacticooler down right before Lexi popped the Inkjet, which is a beautiful strategy, because if something happens to the Inkjet, they can respawn, be back, helping this push.
It looked like Discharge was trying to go for that push, but was stopped by obvious Omnivores as they try and turn it around. It's still 71 to 80, anybody's game. It looks like Discharge needs to be. They're already as aggressive as they can be. As they take 3 down, it's currently 4-1. Lexi with the Inkjet a 3rd time, as well as I believe that might have been an Inksuka, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think it was. There hasn't been a Tacticooler yet. The NZAP is carrying their clams, but they do have a lot of follow-up clams. 2 power
Could
clams.
this be the push that they need? Will Omnivore stop said push as Discharge gains about 60 points there, bringing it from
they did. They were able to get all 3 of those power clams in.
a gigantic push. Omnivore has work to do if they're going to want to take the first game.
Yes, Omnivore has been doing a great job at keeping a lot of ink on the ground. So I feel like if they keep that up, we saw they are capable of taking the lead, and if they coordinate a little bit, keep an eye on Lexi Inkjet status, keep an eye on their NZAP's Tacticooler status, I think that the Omnivores could do some damage here.
As 1 minute passes, the Defiant Ooh, I take that back. Ferrari taking down two individuals, trying to gain as much advantage as they can to keep that lead, or keep to try and regain that lead.
Yes, and here we have a Tacticooler with an Inkjet battle, but Lexi was able to find two
people.
The mid-air Inkjet snipe on the other Inkjet. That was amazing. We're in the within the final 30 seconds here, and Discharge is really trying to make sure that the Omnivores don't really have any legs left to stand on.
Can Omnivores find the last minute push that they need to make this turnaround? They have 10 seconds left. Tacticooler gets dropped down. They have more speed. They have more. This might be the push that they need. It looks like.
They're trying to get the ink down, make sure that their Slosher and Blaster have room to work. If they can avoid this Booyah and make a little space, they might be able to break this basket.
But they are running out of time. They need to get. As the clam gets, oh, my bad. As there is a wipeout on the Omnivore side. This first match goes to Defiant Discharge. I was going to say that it looks like they were able to push it, but it was just barely there.
Yes, it was. I thought that they were going to break that basket in overtime. I saw the wave breaker went down. They had another Inkjet. But Discharge, it's like they put up a wall right there and I said, no, 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 you don't.
I was ready for it. There was a lot of things like that last round. It just looks like Defiant Discharge was able to stand their ground and make sure that their win was guaranteed.
Yes, and here we see POV Lexi trying to protect her teammates, stop any flanks, but the Blaster on Omnivore was doing a great job. I think they just got a triple here. And Lexi died on the recall from her Inkjet.
Both teams showing exactly why they're in grand finals. Advantages on both sides, 3-1, 1-3. And as you can see, the Omnivores had a pretty good pushback after Discharge's first push. Lexi with the Inkjet just trying to take names.
Yes, but not prisoners, remember.
Not prisoners.
Names only.
Names only.
Yes. Yeah, well, you know, it was really interesting with this first game. I really think that the Omnivores have kind of been finding out how each other will play. You know, they are all free agents. They may not have ever played together before. But, you know, after I learned that they lost their first set in prelims, but they've gotten steady straight wins ever since, I'm thinking they might be the type that learn very quickly, they might be adapting, and they could be plotting right now how they're going to win this Wahoo World Zones against Discharge.
And if that's as you say, that we're gonna have a very, very interesting game too, and maybe for the rest of the match, because this one was very close, minus that really big push.
Okay,
As
look at our loadout.
there's my
Let's see,
charger.
back on the e-leader. Oh. The Explode, the Rapid. We kept the Tri-Slosher and the N-Zap. So it looks like they've got support, they've got ink on the side of the Omnivores, and they have the chip damage, they've got zone control. I really feel like they did a great job picking the weapons for this mode, for the map, and hopefully for each other too.
I might be wrong a little bit, but it looks like Omnivores is going for something a bit more aggressive to maybe combat the aggressiveness of Defiant Discharge. It looks like Defiant Discharge is making quick work of the mid as they take control. 72 to 94 is the current score.
Yes, and the Omnivores have been pushed back. It's gonna slow them down quite a bit, the fact that they in effect got wiped in the beginning after they got to 94, but they do already have a cooler. It looks like they've got their inkjet online. Beautiful shot from the inkjet, taking out the backliner. That's going to give the other players a chance to get to the zone, and they do get the cap.
I was just going to say, Omnivore needs to be a lot more aggressive during this match if they're going to want to take control. The Discharge is showing exactly why they were undefeated during the entire prelim. If they can just get into point and keep it for as long, well, I guess that's how the mode works. But to do so is a very hard feat, as Discharge is solidified in their positioning.
Yes, they are. But we might see the zone flip here. Yes, we do. And then Inkjet comes out for the Omnivores. They are really trying to keep Lexi on their toes during this game.
It looks like Omnivores have tried to. I was going to say they were solidifying their position in middle, and they were slowly getting back advantage. It was a good push, honestly.
It's
As it keeps going, I shouldn't count them out just yet.
Yeah, I think they might have had tactical, so they respawned quick. They jumped right back into the mid to keep this paint on the ground.
It's a 3-4 advantage, and all Omnivores need to do is get back the middle first. It seems like they've lost control.
Yes, but they are doing a great job at recapping it. Oh, a little bit of maybe an early push against that crab just then. Maybe an unnecessary death for that Tri-Slosher. But I don't think it's gonna slow down the Omnivores too much. Really all they need is to catch Discharge on the back foot, you know, going a little too far forward so that they can punish them for their aggression that they've had up until this point.
Absolutely correct. And it looks like that's what they were doing, choking up past middle to try and combat them before they could try and paint. And it looks like it seems to be working, as it's currently 30-18. They just need to hold it for a couple more seconds. It's currently 3-2. Hopefully they can hold it. 19-18, and they lose and they gain the lead. If they can hold on to it, they could be able to turn the tides and make this a 1-1.
Beautifully timed tri-strikes here. Even though they were down 2 players, it was the Rapid and the Explo combo with the special ready at the end. The Omnivores tying it up, taking a game off of the team that has not lost one game.
This must be a huge morale boost for the Omnivores, as they show that they are here to play. They're not here to mess around, and hopefully we can see a lot more of that in the next match. Flounder Heights at Rainmaker.
Yes, it
Uh,
was a strong open we see here from the Omnivores. It looked like they were going to be able to keep control of this zone, but once the Explo went down, it seems like that's when Discharge was able to paint the zone and start ticking down their counter.
this beginning part was definitely a big back and forth. Both teams taking out each other in drastic ways. I believe there was two different wipeouts, or not wipeouts, but two, three people losing people in between rounds. But Omnivore
Yeah.
was just able to just try and there was a big lead in Discharge's favor for most of the match because they were very aggressive and very solidified in their position and what they were doing.
Yeah, and they even went all the way up into Omnivore's plat. I think Lexi was up on their plat, just pointed at their small ramp entry points, staring them down, shining that laser in their eye. But the Omnivores, they really stepped it up.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This is definitely one of those shake it off, let's get the next match in type scenarios where they said, okay, we know what we're doing. We got the jitters out. This is grand finals. We need to go ahead and shape up. And shape up they did.
And so our next map mode is going to be Rainmaker on Flounder, which, this should come as a surprise to nobody, is one of my favorite map mode combos.
As we get into it, let's see what the loadout looks like. This looks a bit similar to round one on Discharge's side. It looks like Omnivore's shaking it up again.
Yep, Ferrari kept the tri-slosher, but now they have swapped the end zap for a sloshing machine. It's a pretty bold choice, but it is a great choice on this map.
I believe I remember hearing that. I remember hearing during the preliminaries that a lot of teams don't prefer like shooters and stuff like that, but you see a couple of them here as Defiant Discharge takes the lead. They currently have the Rainmaker at the current moment in time.
Yes, but the Rainmaker is in trouble and the Rainmaker does go down. 2 players down on Team Discharge. Here we see Omnivores. Look at this, they have so much ink all down the ramp. They tried to establish a strong position here to say, we're not just going to take this checkpoint, we're setting up for what's beyond the checkpoint.
It's looking like Defiant Discharge's aggressiveness is kind of backfired as Omnivore is currently in the lead by 30. If they can keep this up much better, make sure that Discharge does not continue their aggression, then they can win game 3. I say as Lexi splats one of the Omnivores, making it a 4-2 scenario on advantage to Discharge.
Yes, but we do see a Booyah in play. It's going to stall the Rainmaker a little bit. Now they're left with just the Blaster, but the Blaster takes out 2. That's amazing. Here Ferrari doing a great job defending the ramp. Making sure that Discharge cannot do what the Omnivores did in their first push. They cannot push up their ramp, they can't put ink down. I guess on this map, that could be the end if you let the enemy get too much ink down.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot going on here. It just looks like anybody's game, honestly, as it's 61 to 65. The The Rainmaker is currently in. Which one is that? Looks closer to Defiant Discharge side, right?
That's the Omnivores checkpoint.
Omnivores checkpoint. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they tried to do a sneaky, cheeky checkpoint grab, but the Omnivores stopped them.
But they grab the Rainmaker right back and just continue on this onslaught. They're very aggressive in how they play, as they take 2 down. It's currently 3-2 advantage on Discharge.
Yeah, but something that's really interesting about this game so far is that even if one of the teams goes down 2 players or 3 players, as we've seen both sides, someone is still alive and that person will take down the Rainmaker somehow.
It's just knowing your priorities, I guess. It's knowing that you need to stop that push if in any means necessary.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Omnivores lost, I think, 2 or 3 players at that moment. So Discharge was able to squeak out a few more points. They're now at 45, but they are down 2. I believe teams have a booyah ready.
It looks like both teams have their specials out. Omnivore more so, as 3 up the barrier, as well as it looks like the sloshing machine's going to hold their special for a second.
Well, the Omnivores lost a couple players. Ferrari doing the best they can to try to push up this ramp to get some paint down, keep the players from Discharge in their base, like how they did on the first push. The Inkjet's here. Hopefully this Inkjet gets some support. Looks like Toes is trying to. They lost their Rainmaker though.
We have 10 seconds left on the clock, as we see that Discharge may win this, except Omnivores have the Rainmaker. They have 6 seconds plus overtime to try and make a push. If they can get the 36 lead, and that's game last minute. Omnivore taking the lead serves them. I apologize. I had written them out last second, and they showed me up.
That was amazing.
Honestly, it's one of those last minute turnarounds that I honestly like seeing when it comes to these matches. It seems we've seen like 2 or 3 of those in the finals.
Oh yes. That was such a nice pulling together of pretty much all the resources that they possibly had in those last seconds. Here we see the first 30 seconds of the game. It seemed like Discharge started off really strong here until they lost a couple players.
That is true, but they had a really decent push there. Omnivore definitely had that lead in the beginning, but as you'll see in the very soon, that it was pretty much neck and neck towards the end. It's one of those things where it's just that big back and forth. One team ends up being able to push something through, and then it just takes one big push to then change the tides.
Yes. And just keeping track of, what your teammates are doing, what your teammates need. In this case, on this map mode, like I was saying before, making sure that there's ink ahead of where the Rainmaker needs to be, down this ramp in this courtyard. The Omnivores really did, I think, a better job at doing that the entire match. And then it was Discharge that kind of tried to squeeze the lead a couple of times, but it wasn't as controlled as the Omnivores.
Oh yeah, no, the Omnivores definitely are now, I like to say they're locked in, they're synced in, they know what they're doing, and they're ready to go ahead and take this to take this last round actually. If they win this next match, Undertow Spillway at Tower Control, then they win the entire set and they will be our 39th season champions.
Yes. Undertow Tower Control. I love this map mode.
Is it your favorite map mode?
No, it's not one of my favorites.
Really? Okay.
contrary to popular belief, but it's up there. It's the only thing that I don't enjoy is the second checkpoint on
Second
this map. Because you come right up against the enemy team's grates, and they can just, if they have sloshers or rollers or anything like that, that can kind of just spill ink over the edge. That second checkpoint is such a deadly area.
Really big hurdle
Yes.
to get through. As we go on game 3, it looks like, once again, it looks like Discharge not really changing their comp too much. Or at least I don't think so.
I do believe we see Lexi back on the E-leader.
You love to see it.
I do, yes. Me and the figurative you, I hope. Everyone
gotta-
loves to see it.
You gotta make clips for the Twitch chat.
Yes.
Oh,
A nicely
As-
timed inkjet, but they are taken out. Was that Lexi on the
Discharge is-
E-leader, I believe, took out that inkjet.
Discharge as aggressive as possible, trying to get as many points as possible, taking lead. They still have a lead, currently 30-0.
Yeah, this
Oh.
is just when you think that Discharge already showed us how much aggression they can put forward, how fast they can push for the lead. It's like they kicked it into another gear.
This is the third checkpoint you were talking about. Being so close to enemy spawn is going to be really hard to try and push that into goal. But it doesn't look like it's too hard for Discharge as they immediately, quickly get their game in. It's currently 2-2, and it is time for the all-fabled Game 5. It's currently 2-2. This last game will determine who will be our 39th season champion. Honestly, that was really impressive in terms of Discharge. They knew exactly what they were coming for, and I know I've probably said that for the last couple of matches, but this one just shows solidified that they were not here to play around. They've been undefeated for the past how many matches?
rounds?
5
Yeah.
rounds they've been here. Thank you. And they were sure not going to make this match any different.
Yeah, it's like they had specials ready to counter anything that the Omnivores were trying to do before they even did it. So our final game, it has come down to, in this season of It's Dangerous to Go Alone. But hopefully, losing this tower control doesn't stop the Omnivores from this momentum they were building up. Coming up on Barnacle and Dime, Clam Blitz.
If
What do you think we're gonna see here?
If the first round was any indication, this last match is going to be a nail biter. The first round, it was anybody's game up towards the last moment, right? And honestly, with how aggressive, what we see here, I think, is Defiant Discharge's aggressiveness with Omnivores' cautious but definitive strategy, I guess you can say, where they definitely try to find the optimal opportunity to go and recoup that that slight loss with how aggressive Discharge is in, and in the end, it works in their favor more than not.
Yes, it does. And I feel like every game, like you said, has been a nail biter, but at this, like, I have no nails left.
None of them. All you have is trying to hammer down this win.
So, Barnacle and Dime, it's a new map. So, that's another interesting element here, with it being our final game in such a close set, 2-2. I feel like anything can happen here.
Ooh, that's new. I think Omnivore brought out a ballpoint for this round. Everything else seems pretty solid except the blaster on their side as well. Lexi still with the sniper, and shooters on their side. It is immediate in the middle as they are currently in fire.
Yes, I don't know if everyone was able to catch that. At the beginning, in those first few seconds, Discharge had so many clams. It's like they snatched up as many clams as possible, but once their shot got taken out, they lost like half of their clams. And now it seems like it's turning into almost a little bit of a free-for-all. But here we have Ferrari doing the best that they can to keep Discharge off of their plat.
It's looking like Omnivores is gaining advantage as they splat one person on Discharge's side, and they have the advantage in clams as Toes has a clam on their person. It looks like they're gonna try and go for something soon. As they slowly regain special. There's one special on Omnivore's side as Centricide decides to
Wow.
grab Inkjet as they get splatted
Lexi does
immediately.
not miss a chance to go for those inkjets. I don't know what it is, but inkjets are not safe with Lexi on the E-leader.
You can't be in the air. You can't move in the air.
Yes. And something else that's interesting is that I believe we see that Omnivores has changed their Tri-Slasher. Now they have double the Tacticooler. And so maybe that plays into why it seems like we're seeing such a trading of lives here in this first 2 minutes. Omnivores drawing the first blood of the game. They break the basket. They've gotten a few clams in. It looks like they've sent someone off to collect some more clams. Down to 59 already.
They're making good use
And
of their
they've got
push,
more
trying to bring it as
clams.
low as possible. Oh,
It's
my
just
bad,
the
my bad.
end zap. Toes making a pretty nice retreat. But he built up another power clam in the meantime.
Discharge needs to make a push right back, but possibly they need to make a push right back as Omnivore is trying to trying to re-solidify that lead with 18 clams on the side. Discharge needs to show that aggressiveness they've shown in the past couple of matches in order to try and contest how aggressive Omnivore is currently. That double tentacle that you mentioned originally might be attributed to how hard they're pushing, as Discharge also gains a clam. It's just a matter of who can throw it in first, as Ferrari gets splatted on Omnivore's side. It's currently 3-4. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, and the Booyah's already been used for Discharge. Omnivores got a bubble up. I believe they have an inkjet online, so they might be waiting for a juice. A Tacticooler to go up, which we do see the cooler go up. We see the inkjet. Omnivore's trying to take some ground here.
It looks like Omnivore is able to hold their ground and still have advantage, as there's currently 3-3 on either side. It's still anyone's game. All it really takes is one big push, as we've seen before. Cactus getting out of the way to try and maybe mitigate or save whatever they have, as currently it's 4-3 advantage to, I lied, 3-3 advantage to anybody. With 1 minute left, this determines who wins this season, and both teams are at a scramble to try and gain that small little edge.
Yes, but 3 players go down on Discharge, and so this might be Omnivore's moment to build up this momentum and close this game down. Look
It's
at
still
this ink coverage for the Omnivores. The whole map is blue. They're using Tacticooler. They had a bubble, but they used an inkjet. They weren't able to find any picks with it, it looks like.
If you look at it, it looks like Discharge has 2 clams. It's just one's in the background. If they can just go in and push it, they can get 60, and a couple more clams, they can turn this completely around.
That is
They
true.
have 5 seconds to go. They
just
need to be able to
lost
push
3
this now.
players.
Did they?
Yes, it is just Lexi. They have respawns now, but Ferrari is not having it. Omnivores, they're trying to take their claim
This can
as
be an
the
upset.
champions. It's like Discharge can't get out of their base at this point. The entire map is blue.
And that is the game, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. How do you defeat the undefeated Defiant Discharge? You send the Obsequious Omnivores. The Omnivores take the set 3-2 in the final game of Grand Finals, and it's Dangerous to Go Alone Season 39. Congratulations! That was an amazing Grand Finals.
Yeah, no, I loved every moment of it. Each one had me on the edge of my seat wondering how, not even who's going to win, but how are they going to turn around? It seemed like you couldn't really count either side out until the last couple of seconds, and even then overtime showed you that no, you can't count them out even then.
Yes, exactly. It's like, just when you think there's no chance for overtime, both teams in their legacy in this season, they found a way to make it happen. And so now we are going to have, I believe, our analysts. Oh, not yet. Now
Well,
we're
no,
going to...
because we're gonna have everybody in, right? So y'all.
Alright.
I was gonna say, we're
It's-
gonna have our analysts join us here at our tiny desk.
It's
As you
quite
can
cramped
see-
here.
I've made space. I've joined our plushie mascot. I call it Panda on the plush corner.
There's enough room for all of us. We fit perfectly fine.
All right, but anyways, going into this first game, Didi did take this first game, but it was very back and forth during the opening rounds. We saw that on the side of Defiant Discharge, they did forego the E leader here, thinking that the ballpoint probably was a better backline pick than the E leader. But we see this triple power clam score, and we actually saw whoever scored that last clam, Squid rolled through, parried like 2 shots, and then got that score into the basket as well.
That was insane. We saw a lot of the Defiant Discharge doing good follow-ups on with their teammates. Like the Inkjet would get a few do a little bit of damage on some people on the enemy team, and then their teammates would then follow up and make sure to get those kills. They also, the Defiant Discharge kept a lot of paint on the ground as well.
Yeah, no, when I looking at Discharge, they were very aggressive towards in the very beginning of the round. From what it looked like, all Omnivore needed to do was kind of gas them out until they could then kind of gain and secure that lead. Once it was endgame for Discharge, it seemed like it was just a bit harder for them to try and regain that control.
Yeah, the Explo putting out a lot of paint here, and the Rapid Blaster being able to poke up that top right ledge, just being able to make sure no one from Defiant Discharge can really just drop for free without taking out at 1 or 2, but they just never got that advantage towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I was super impressed with the Omnivores in the flat zone game.
They also had two good painting specials, the Ink Storm, and then the triple Ink Strike was used a little bit for painting as well, and it was fun to see that, especially like like we said, the Explo. It's really good on Splat Zones maps, but needs to be worked around really well, and I think the Omnivores did a good job with that.
The intense pressure of the Omnivores to perform as well. Discharge is not losing a single match up until the grand finals, and it what's the word? It turns out they were able to deliver from the gate of going 3-2 to the last moment.
Yeah, but going into this next game on Rainmaker Flounder, personally, I don't love this map mode because as the defenders, you're defending from low ground to high ground, which gives the attackers a really strong advantage where they can just keep shooting from that top of the roofs while the defenders really have to climb up, and that made it pretty tough for Defiant Discharge to really make a push until towards the middle of this game. We saw that the Omnivores got that checkpoint first because of that aggression they had early on.
Yeah, I feel like Discharge probably wanted to take the right checkpoint because I think it gives you like way more control if you take that right side because you're staring down the ramp. But in the end, it's like they just took like, well, we have to get a checkpoint because then we can start getting more points eventually. But I think doing that kind of left them in a pickle, even though they were able to keep the lead for I think like a minute at least.
Going on to the next game, Discharge shows how strong they could be when they're all in alignment of what they need to do. Completely wrecking shop as they this was game 4, I believe, making sure that they know who was in charge that round.
Yeah, going into this last game, both teams know this is game point. This really shows who has the nerves to win. It doesn't matter what the score was before, what was happening before. This last game will determine who wins this set. And we could just see from the beginning, from the get-go, the Omnivores knew that just being as aggressive as they could with the double tacticooler comp, but also Defiant Discharge having that E-leader slows down the gameplay for them, while on the side of the Omnivores, they could just keep running in with it cooler.
Yeah, like we were
That's
saying,
a
as
good
we were
point.
saying earlier, the Omnivores were taking their time learning and adapting to the teams that they were fighting, and this is what they did, and they figured out a good way to do that with the double coolers, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, but that is the end of this tournament from us. Congratulations to the Obsequious Omnivores and Defiant Discharge. They had a very good chance of winning. Although they didn't win today, I think, you know, they had this was an amazing run from them, being undefeated until grand finals. But we should sign it off here. Let's throw it to our commentators first. Tao Panda, where can they find you?
They can find me here and there, Tao Panda on Discord, the Tao Panda, and various other media like Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. What about you, Gilga?
You see it on the screen. Ayo, it's Gilga. That's my Twitter. Sometimes I stream, sometimes I don't, but if you see me, you see me. What about our analysis team? Where can we find you?
I'll go first. You guys, I'm just more around Discord in the Splatoon competitive servers, just known as Kirby or 52 Kirby's.
Yeah, and everyone can find me either on Twitter or Twitch at We Like Rice. It's all one word. But yeah, that'll be the end of today's stream. And thank you to everyone who was here watching, either who just popped in last minute here and there, or whoever was here the whole time. We really appreciate your time here.
Yeah, and it was fun coming to watch and analyzing everything. It was great listening.
Well, thank you
As-
for tuning in for season 39. We hope to catch you again, and if you weren't a competitor this time, hopefully you will join us. It is thrilling, it is fun. Have a good day, everybody.